G'day there, we're back for the Rainbow Six Pro League. It's week 5. We only have 4 play days remaining until we will know for certain which 2 teams from the Australia and New Zealand region will join the APAC finals. I am Dev and Cthulhu is joining me tonight. We have just 2 games on tonight and it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good one, albeit if you look at the scoreboard, maybe not something that potentially some people could fancy, but all in all, it's still going to be an exciting one because it's a very still high-stakes game.
That's right. This is a battle for the relegation spot. In the
Pretty
Pro
much.
League at the moment, we have 7 teams, and one of those teams is going to go down to the Challenge League and fight for their spot to get back into the Pro League. Let's chuck the standings up right now. As you can see, a little bit of a recap of last night. Those top 4, Oddity, Fnatic, Wildcard, Mindfreak, we saw them go head-to-head last night, and man, were there some upsets.
Oh yeah, there was some definite upsets. Main one was the fact that Oddity managed to grab a win on map 1 and a draw on map 2, pushing themselves 4 points upwards, right above Fnatic and Wildcard at the moment.
Wildcard being formerly known as August, for a long time they have been that number 1, number 2 team in the region, so already getting that victory was a huge deal. But now we're looking towards the bottom of the Pro League. Cryptic and Sinister playing tonight. This, as you can see, they really don't have any points on the board yet.
Yeah, not really, not a whole bunch. Sinister, unfortunately, only granting themselves a draw point against Wildcard for a fair while. As well as Cryptic, they were sitting initially quite comfy when they managed to verse up against Powerplays, who unfortunately now not part of the Pro League.
And if Sinister win tonight against Cryptic, not only do they jump up, they actually jump out into 5th place. They leapfrog Fury up towards Cryptic and then a much safer position up there just under Mindfreak. So definitely a high-stakes match, as you said, for that relegation spot. And also a Battle of the Dragon logos as well.
It is indeed which dragon would be able to persevere here. As I'm quite excited, just for the fact that there are a couple of other storylines forming up here between Sinister and Cryptic. Because on the side of Sinister, they had their first debut on LAN, which was the Six Masters. They had some, you could say, team bonding exercise during the UBXP where they were able to meme it up. They brought in a fresh new face in face of Nico to their roster rather than Arnie, who was playing for the most of the first half of the Pro League. And overall, they've been looking pretty good, all things considered. And so they are all warmed up, all ready to smash things out. So they, at least in my eyes, they're going into this matchup as a favorable team.
So Sinister versus Cryptic, but how's this going to shape up? We've got 2 best of ones that will be played between these 2 teams. So overseas, if you're familiar with watching North America, Europe, Latin America, they play just 1 best of 1, each team, every play day. Whereas we have to condense things down. We have the APAC finals to get to, so each team will play both of those best of 1s at once. Sinister, Cryptic, and then the same match again, but on a different map. Each one of these has the potential for a win or a draw or a loss for either team. Win gets you 3 points, a draw gives each team 1, and a loss gives you nothing. So if Sinister can get the win and the draw, or the win and the win here, they will leapfrog all the way up above Cryptic.
Yeah, and that would actually force potentially Cryptic to be in that relegation spot, that's 1. And 2, if I believe if the head-to-head rounds count, would also be a factor. They could potentially still stay up above Fury.
Yeah, well, they actually have the head-to-head victory against Fury from the Pro League so far, so they would stay ahead of them as long as Fury don't leapfrog them. And Cryptic have some hard matches the next few weeks, so that's possible. Let's talk about Team Sinister, though, for now. You mentioned before these are a team that have been around for a while, maybe had some struggles, consistently not in the top 4 of the Pro League, middling in the pack. This season they've dropped off a bit, but maybe that roster change has helped them out. It
certainly would seem to be something that would be able to essentially bring them that victory. Potentially. Nico, a bit of an internet sensation really within Twitter and Reddit as well. The man is known for some of the nuttiest angles and just some of the creative plays that he does usually.
Yeah, Nico's a bit of a big brain player. He's a cheeky guy. He finds these little things. And overall from this roster, it did take us a while to see them really start to work a little bit more cohesively as a team. They used to kind of put Copper on a pedestal, tell him to go frag, and it didn't quite work out, but they really seem to be working. You'll often see Copper and Fisho roaming together or entering together, and I think Sinister's looking really good. But let's talk about their opponents for tonight, Cryptic.
So Cryptic had a bit of a peculiar run. So they came out into this season of Pro League out of the Challenger League, made a whole bunch of headlines really at the very start, managed to propel themselves pretty far, well, for a team that was expected to get relegated back into the Challenger League, really, propelled themselves onto the middle of the leaderboard.
And I think one of the things that was really surprising about that is coming from the Challenger League, they were actually in 3rd place for most of the season. They only leapfrogged over the first place team, ACME, on the very final day of the Pro League.
And it was by literally a millimeter. So all in all, their performance was good, and they also had a quick roster change as well, which saw Nazgul depart from the roster and Sushi come back in to play, who was actually their coach initially. So it's coach to a core player swap, and I think this could actually be the solution.
Yeah. I mean, this team, Cryptic, they do have some former pro players from previous seasons, but they're still kind of finding that perfect fit in their roster. And maybe that's something that can work out for them tonight. Let's talk about where the first map will be. In this map, Veto, for those who don't know how this works, 2 maps are just discarded right at the start, Cafe and Bank. Then each team vetoes one after another until we end up with just 1 remaining.
Yeah. And so far, Veil of Border to be banned out, that's something that neither Cryptic nor Sinister really want to see. I'm curious to see what will be the second set, because both of those teams were able to play up a fair few bunch of maps, really.
Yeah, it's a bit funny. The last time these teams played against each other in the 6 Masters, they did play on Border, and Sinister 7-1 Cryptic. And then, yet they're banning it here. So for me, what that really shows is just both of these teams, their map pool's changing a lot. They're very much in the formative stages of some of their strats, and both of them have had roster changes. So maybe that comes into play there, because otherwise I don't see, it's a bit of a question mark. Why would Sinister ban a map where they literally beat this team on less than a month ago?
Well, the thing is here
2 months ago.
that for Cryptic, they had a coach and an analyst already full-on counter-stratting Sinister for a fair while. I talked to the Cryptic's coach, War Turtle. He was talking about so many things, and they've been preparing so much stuff, but no bootcamp just yet for either one of the teams. But on the side of Cryptic, they've been mainly just playing online, prepping things up. On the side of Sinister, they already have the MEO experience past them. They already warmed up. They had all of that fun time.
So Clubhouse is where we'll see Sinister versus Cryptic. As you mentioned, Cthulhu, Sinister have had a lot of experience for that team bonding, Ubisoft experience, 6 Masters, but now they're here back in the Pro League where they have had a rough start, and it's time to prove all of the naysayers wrong. It's Cryptic versus Sinister, kicking it off here on Clubhouse.
Kicking it off indeed, and boy oh boy, we're just gonna run straight into the ban phase to see how things are going to work out. I'd imagine we will be seeing a Jackal departure as well as IQ for now.
So this is exactly what they banned the last time these teams played each other. They're on Border, and Sinister banned IQ and then Kaid, which is not common bans on Border, neither of them. So I'm starting to feel like that's a target ban towards a specific Cryptic player. I wish I could say who, but I've seen quite a few of these different players jump on the IQ before, so it could be specifically to a player who's good at entry on IQ and maybe that utility. But what this will have an effect is it means Sinister, I guess, can have a little bit more freedom when it comes to placing Valkyrie cameras, Mozzie drones, and that.
Yeah, although I will be surprised if there will be a Valk ban as well, because we did see a fair few times when teams will be banned Thatcher and Kaid, or Thatcher and, well, Bandit not really, and I think we only seen like a singular ban. But here, everything could be happening, but this is Sinister who will be banning things out, and maybe Echo?
Okay, there you go. Okay. So I was theorizing here that maybe Sinister would go for another one of those uncommon bans like they did the IQ. Last time these teams played against each other, they even experimented with a smoke ban, which Sinister have done quite a lot in the past. They ban Jaeger, they ban smoke. They'll do these ones that you don't see very often. Sinister are a daring team like that. They don't just ban, Maestro, Echo, Mira, at least not most of the time. Mira is actually their main ban. Most frequently, they ban Mira, but Cryptic did that for them, so they're going to take Echo off the board here. Nonetheless, we get into the first round with Cryptic starting on the attacking side. They'll have to deal with whatever Sinister have to throw at them. You can't always predict which bomb site you're going to go to first here on this map, so we'll see Sinister go downstairs. Cryptic will have to make sure they have a plan ready for that.
Certainly will, and interestingly to me is that Sinister actually opted to swapping out from Bandit to Castle. So no breach denial per se, apart from Fisho's mute. So they will be able to only delay it, but not destroy it.
Maybe that's a little bit of a... picking the Bandit, that makes it look like you're playing on the Cash side. Cash is where you would mostly see Bandit. Occasionally we see Bandit on this church site to Bandit trick the church wall, but most of the time you see Bandit on Clubhouse, it's for that church wall, sorry, the Cash wall on the upstairs bomb site. So maybe that's just a little bit of a fake from Sinister, trying to hide the fact that they're bringing the castle, trying to make Cryptic think that they're attacking the top floor.
Yeah.
But it won't take long for Cryptic to figure that out, and then they'll just have to readjust their plans and make sure they have enough utility to get rid of these castle barricades. With Sophia, Buck, and Ash, I don't think that'll be a problem.
Well, for now, though, we will be seeing the start of that and potentially see how this will work. This is a very open style plan, really. Having castled out the bedroom as well as some of the bar side, it could definitely give Sinister some movement room, but I'm not too sure how well will it work against Cryptic, because Cryptic are seeming to be bringing in a very somewhat stock standard, but a very effective set of operators, really, as well.
Yeah, I think it'll come a lot down to the droning and entry from Cryptic, because as you mentioned, this is a very heavy roam for Sinister. If Cryptic can cut off the rotations back to the bomb site and start to flush out these roamers, it certainly could work well. But Sinister's a team with players that want to take these gunfights, and if Cryptic give it to him, Copper's certainly going to chew it up.
Certainly could be the case. Fisher Guy and Copper, like you just pointed out, are going to be the ones to be roaming up above. Not Nico, who is on Vigil, who would probably be a bit more useful for this sort of job. But I'm curious to see how will this push and how will the defenders react to this, because usually in this case, whenever the breach already starts happening and the push is happening with the fraggers as well, that's when you need to start bailing out.
Just trying to pinch these players upstairs. It's Jam on entry right now. He does have Pro League experience under his belt. He gets the final shot into Fisher that's needed. A great job from Cryptic to hunt the roamers down, but there, Jam does finally get Nico as well. He was allowed to find the buck, but fortunately for Cryptic, they contain these roamers and eliminate them before they can do too much damage.
So the open floor plan didn't really work for Sinister so far. One person anchoring on the site, that is the castle, and Luna still on the roam. She could potentially pull off a nice flank if Cryptic won't be too knowledgeable about her position, but at the same time, right now, Vicious is about to get pressured very and very quickly.
Cryptic do have that numbers advantage. If they use it to refrag onto this player in church, they could completely take control of site. They've taken down Luna now. It's just the one player of Vicious left, and the UMP is an unenviable weapon to be having in this position. He can take one down, but Cryptic, a very convincing round here on that roam clear, taking our first round of the map here on Clubhouse.
That was a very swift, I gotta admit. They managed to read in quite well into the roam game of Sinister. Managed to pretty much approach it pitch perfectly, albeit that it was technically for the roam game clear. It was the Jam show, really.
He did a great job. I mean, his purpose here was to start pushing on down and cut off these, start to funnel the Sinister players back down the stairs. Yeah. And he did that with picking up one kill and then cutting off the Vigil on the second kill. For Sinister, it's just a bit weird for me. This is clearly something that they should be good at. That's something they've practiced, but they were never ready. They never really took any gunfights. They're always shot in the back. Yeah,
that was certainly a good point, Dev, as yeah, we will be seeing them, though, not prompting out of trying to retry the church and arsenal. We'll be coming back to the CCTV and cache, like initially they probably were baiting for, in hopes of trying to potentially bring this back. No Bandit once again, but Kayad will be the play here for Sinister to attempt to just have a remote, as much safer attempt at the breach denial.
Yeah, it's funny actually, looking at Cryptic, we didn't talk about this last round, but they didn't bring the Hibana. And on this bomb site, or not on this bomb site so much, but on the other bomb site, the one we saw just before, Church Arsenal, you've got 3 hatches that you really kind of need to get. Plus you've got dirt, plus you've got church wall, all of these hard breach areas that you really want to be exposing. And you've only got the Thermite, which has the potential to breach 2 of those surfaces. Maybe Cryptic, I don't know, why are they bringing so many soft breaches and no Hibana? That's the question for me. Ash and Zafir, bit of a double up. Buck, well, that's a triple up. Is
Pretty
that
sure
really
they had
necessary?
a Maverick. Oh, wait, no, Maverick got
Maverick's
banned.
banned. So this is the exact same lineup they ran last round, which is making me think even more so that Cryptic expected that last round to be a cache bomb site rather than church, what we saw.
Well, one way or another, it did work out pretty well, all things considered, managing to completely any attempt at roam game, albeit, yeah, Nico ended up getting a kill, but it got straight away traded. I'm curious about this position of Fisho, because any attempt at aggressive push could potentially be shut down from the main entrance, and oh, that is a very peculiar spot.
Fisho guy dancing with death here. He does see the buck. He wants to go for these shots. He lands one. That's striking going down. Just about 40 HP's worth with the slug. Good idea there from Sinister. They're always playing aggressively on these cheeky peek hole angles. But now it's up to Copper to hold down Garage.
And with the 416 carbine, this could very much happen if he manages to land his shots. But the jam on Zofia has been able to pull off some very nutty flicks, but he is pretty low on health as well, so a few shots will be able to down him, if not just kill him, really. And
one bullet from that 416 is enough, so I'm really worried if I'm Jam here. You won't have the confidence on that peak.
I like how Jam just tempted on that idea of peeking and just instantly regretted, like, nope, I'm just going to get back onto droning. I'll let the buck do the actual shooting part.
Both of them have been taken low as well. Fisho's guy is here to support Copper as well. In fact, a lot of downstairs presence from Sinister, not really any progress from Cryptic, which is a bit, I don't know. I gotta see something more from Cryptic if I'm gonna have faith on this round.
This is a much more confident hold though from Sinister comparative to what we saw in the first round as well.
Sinister are just waiting for Cryptic to come to them. Waiting and ready. Cryptic are starting to think about how they want to take this. They're opening up avenues into Garage, making sure no one's going to play Lounge, but they've used all of their hard breach and they still haven't flushed out these key positions.
And right now, Sushi's completely unaware about the Kayad as well. There are shots coming out from the Slug shotgun, but he's completely oblivious to that position of the Kayad. Won't be able to net himself a single kill, but the control of the Garage has been... Whoop, just as I said that, control of the Garage has not been taken, really, and Copper is still up above and still fragging out. His position has been revealed, and I do believe the breach did happen, so... But the peak will be securing a double kill! How is that even allowed at this point? But finally, the peak from Jam will be able to get things going, but Nico is already on the case. Just like that, Sinister showing once a return back to what we initially expected them to have the type of form.
Cryptic absolutely fell up against that brick wall of Sinister's Garage defense. Copper, he didn't need to peek for so long. He wasn't given any opportunity for a gunfight by Cryptic, and then as soon as push came to shove, Copper was keen to take those fights, keen and eager. He got a 3K on the back of that. So a really good hold from Sinister, but more so no way that Cryptic would address that. They didn't really have any... I mean, all of the plans that they had in mind, they weren't executed upon.
Yeah, it seems that every time Cryptic were attempting to go for a poke around and see where they can push, it was just completely denied by Sinister's players. And I definitely do have to say that play by Fisho as a Kayad assisting Copper from the downstairs was definitely working out quite well, because that was able to, one, delay the push into the supply room, which Fisho had a really nice tight angle there, as well as the fact that even after the breach was done, he was still able to keep dealing damage to the Thermite as well, which pretty much sealed the deal as well on the quick kill for Copper.
Yeah, and that slug shotgun does do a lot of damage, so he's just going for body shots, just going for damage, especially in a situation like trying to take that Garage. You want to be peeking up against this, the Jaeger up top. You need a lot of HP for that. You can't be 20, 30 HP taking that gunfight. It's just not going to work. So we do see Sinister head over to the bedroom and gym sites. We will see some presence in cache and information outside thanks to Luna's Valkyrie cameras. Of course, IQ has been banned by Sinister, so it's not likely they'll spot a lot of these Valkyrie cameras placed outside.
Well, Cryptic so far were able to spot most of them fairly quickly, so not like the IQ ban really is phasing Cryptic away, really, with that choice. I am, though, curious about the remaining of the plays, because Cryptic are still bringing the very same roster, same set of operators, and I'm pretty sure that's about the same placing of the operators to players. Whereas on the side of Sinister, they are switching things around, bringing newer ops for each one of the sites, and it seems that even with the gym bedroom, they still prompting to go for a bit of that breach denial as well.
Need to open up this cache room wall, or rather CCTV wall, and It's not going to be too hard for Cryptic. The bandit of Fisher Guy did retreat, so he wasn't going to actively bandit trick that place. Still, we're pretty short on hard breach again, so trying to flush out this position inside of Cash will be a bit difficult. That said, a nice entry from Striking nets him that first kill. He's refragged through the wall. No, that was up through from below through supply. Great job from Fisher Guy and Cryptic. They've taken some ground, but they're still not quite sure. And a C4 could work wonders, but great cover from JC to shut down Fisher Guy. Cryptic finally looking to make a reply here.
I'm liking what I'm seeing right now for Cryptic. The moment they lost the person, they switch it around, have an active roam watch, and manage to out it pretty quickly. So right now they have a good ground. They only lost a singular person, which was Striking on Buck. Whereas on the side of Sinister, already trading out 2 of the players, could potentially spell win within a round for Cryptic, but it's still a minute to go.
Still a lot of work to be done for Cryptic, but they've taken some really good ground. We saw the effect of these Valkyrie cameras as well. It almost got Fisher Guy a C4 kill through the floor. That Valkyrie camera inside of Cash was eventually taken out, but it's up to Sinister now to hold their ground. Cryptic really have to start making a move here. It doesn't look like they've opened up that jacuzzi wall, which is going to allow Sinister a lot more freedom of rotations.
Yeah, but talking about the freedom of rotations right now, Serum, the one trying to peek into the window to have an open angle, won't be able to actually get any closure right now. Nico with that Alda is doing some fantastic job, but will be shut down finally by Sushi, who is seeing a PL debut here.
15 seconds though. Luna's below, ready to kill anyone who tries to jump in through this window. A flashbang is greatly placed, but she does take down the diffuser planter anyway. C4 now on diffuser. It's a 2 versus 1, 2 versus none. Lovely job there from Luna from below, and Sinister do take that bedroom defense.
Even when a man disadvantage, even when the technical control of the site has been completely forfeited to Cryptic, play from below from Luna was actually a very well timed and very well executed, especially that C4 after she pre-placed it. She just probably either based it off the final just call or just timed it pretty well.
She also did throw that camera outside right at the start of the round, and I wouldn't be surprised if that camera was still up late into the round and then utilized to give her the call of when the second player jumped inside. But overall, a really great job from Sinister. It did get pretty close because Cryptic did take down 2 of the Sinister players nice and early at the start. That said, I really like overall what Sinister did. They always seem to have information. They never seem to be making plays based on a lack of information, and I really like that round.
Yeah, it was certainly something that they managed to read in pretty well, all things considered. And Cryptic, even after making a few pretty strong statements, at least from when I was talking with the coach, about how their prep was going up, it seems that Sinister are being always one step ahead of the Cryptic roster, even when some of the roam game is a bit clumsy, even when the site is technically being taken by the attacking team. Always seems that Sinister are still back in the controlling seat.
Yeah, Sinister didn't have such a great roam on the first round of this map though, and that was when they were defending this bomb site, Church and Arsenal. They'll go back down to that bomb site. Looks like they do have roamers as well, but they haven't got the same lineup. Nico's moved over to the Maestro. They're not relying so heavily on the operative picks such as Vigil and Castle to enable this roam. Maybe they're going for a bit more of just a free roam upstairs. Fisho and Copper delay as much time as they can. The rest of the team, no, okay, Fisho's going to come back downstairs as well. So maybe it's just Copper going to try to delay time for as long as he can. No, okay, 5-man turtle. 5 players on the objective. Nice idea here for Sinister. They've realized that they are struggling on this roam game, but Cryptic do waste so much time when they have to deal with these issues of breaking into the site.
Yeah, we saw a plentiful amount of teams that actually did go for a full turtle strat, but they always had a little bit of that backup, maybe having like a pulse or something just to keep up the active info gathering. But that's not the case here for Sinister. They do have, though, all the means to actually deny some of the breaches.
And the info gathering as well. As you mentioned, Cryptic want to drone out the entire map and check where these roamers are. Of course, there are no roamers, but Cryptic can't know that because of these mute jammers in some of the key areas upstairs, which is going to waste a lot of Cryptic's time. Minute 15's off the clock so far, and they still don't have that information.
Yeah, that is a very good way about it, because you can pretty much fake it around and force the attacking team think that, hey, there might be roamers. There are already mute jammers all around all the roaming areas that they were at before. And first round did actually see us playing against them their roam game. So maybe this could be the case here, but it seems that Cryptic already settled with that thought about here, and we'll be just going in for the breach.
And again, I don't understand the lack of a Hibana here for Cryptic. They're only going to have one more thermite charge, and especially when you're worrying about things like these impact grenades, these Cade Electroclaws, your hard breach is incredibly vulnerable. They've already used one on the Moto hatch. That means the second one they're likely going to use on this church wall, but there are impact grenades and Kaid charges that can deny that. Striking looks to be trying to cover this angle, cheeky little angle from above, but he's in a very vulnerable position as well. This angle does work both ways. He'll try to throw a grenade. It's a difficult one to pull off, and he misses. Yeah,
that grenade thankfully wasn't too cooked, so whoever was right at the base of the stairs was able to dodge it out. But the Texan Dynamite will be denied.
Good night.
Unfortunately.
That's the last thermite charge. That's it. All you got. You didn't bring a Hibana to get the hatch open, so you only got one shot and it's gone. 20 seconds left. This is looking incredibly grim for Cryptic. They'll have to just head on inside and see what they can do. Sinister, though, are in the driver's seat, making everything happen. Cryptic can't even scare away with one kill in the last 15. It's a flawless round for Sinister.
Fantastic turn of events overall so far. Cryptic just can't seem to be able to get a single good play from themselves.
Just bring a Hibana.
It certainly seems like, yeah, Hibana could definitely be a good solution here as well. Albeit that potentially with the way how so far Cryptic played it out, even the Hibana wouldn't have really helped.
I mean, it just means that they have a little bit more flexibility for the hard breach. They could have opened up more angles. They could have tried to open up kitchen hatch. They could have wasted some of the impact grenades from the defenders while that was happening. It's,
well, they could have, they should have, they didn't so far.
Yeah, maybe that'll be an adaptation later on, but doesn't seem to be something they'll implement just yet. For this cache CCTV, you don't need the Hibana as much. The lots of soft breach is pretty good on this bomb site, same for the bedroom, but when you're heading downstairs, it's definitely one you want to be having. Get that as much hard breach as possible.
Look at that Nook set, by the way. It's so shiny.
Shiny Pro League sets.
I reckon Nook's Pro League set is actually one of the nicest ones.
Yeah, I think the other one that I've seen a lot of people really like is the Mozzie one.
Yeah, actually, Mozzie one is actually quite nice and clean as well.
Mozzie Elite when? We need a Mozzie Elite, which is just Magnet from Fnatic.
I'm not too sure if Magnet would appreciate that.
I'm not sure he would. I'm sure he would love to be in the game.
But
Mozzie is a cool dude.
What I am waiting for, though, Chunker. When's the Chunker Elite with the tracksuit? Please, I need that. I need that in my life. And meanwhile, though, what is needed in life for Sinister is those frags.
Man!
And he had the drop. Fisher guy just can't seem to finish up the deal, but still managing to deal plentiful amount of damage to Sushi.
And that's the thermite.
And that's the thermite, yeah. So they will be scared away, just away from that temptation of the peeking the garage. And with the door opened up, this is open area for the defense to go for the spawn peaks.
I feel like Sinister went on a retreat and just learned how to abuse these little bullet holes, because I've seen every single round at least one person from Sinister is doing this tiny little peek through a bullet hole.
Pretty sure that is like we saw at least 2 times. It was Fisher that was setting everything up. Before it was Kayed, now it's Doc. And honestly, both of the teams are working out very, very well in regards to just how they set things up. Vicious is tagged up quite substantially, but so is Sushi. So right now comes the question, can they actually bring this back?
Yeah, Sushi is the player you don't want to be losing here. He took a bit of damage on the spawn peak. He's the only one with hard breach. He's going to get bandit tricked. No, the great Zephyr charge, perfectly placed. And there you have the bandit trick denied. A great job from Cryptic, keeping up with the meta, utilizing that Zephyr trick perfectly.
And with Jam being the point man really here for that breach, he might be able to catch a couple of Sinister players off rotation, because that Doc is still in the garage and he's still holding it steadfast, but I don't think Cryptic will be even prompting to go for that peak, really. Curious to see how will they approach this push, because right now with time slowly running out, they'll need to be extra cautious about where they go to poke at it. And it seems that Copper will be punishing them straight away from here. And Luna is already so tempted to go here. She wants to go for that run out. And Jam on the drone right now could exactly catch the bullet here.
Elsewhere, the Copper is finally hunted down and finished off. Doesn't look like Cryptic yet have control of the garage. In fact, they may well not be opting to go for it. Sushi wants to open up this angle from the construction wall. Flashbang's going over. That's going to telegraph what he's doing, but a frag grenade's going to help out a little bit as well. Sushi should get that Texan Dynamite off successfully, and now we have 2 avenues for Cryptic to use onto the bomb site.
That is very well played as well. Finally, they will have a couple of angles to hold, but it seems that Nico is not even fazed by that fact. Sushi to go down, albeit that Thermite was quite teched up substantially, and Luna to get rid of striking. Things are looking all well for Sinister so far, and just about to hit the 4-1 scoreline. There it is. Vicious and Nico to close things out, and it seems that Sinister are quite gunning for those points. They want to get out of that relegation.
Yeah, last time these guys played each other, it was a Sinister victory, fairly decisively on border 7-1. The second map, Cafe, was very close, 8-7, but Sinister did take that best-of-3 series 2-0. So they are definitely the favored team in this series, but there are a lot of people out there, I think, expecting more from Cryptic. This is a team that we saw come out of the gate swinging in the Pro League. Since we've had the results against Power Players wiped, they haven't looked that good, but certainly better than Sinister. And Sinister have had a rough start to the Pro League so far. Cryptic been through some roster changes. They unfortunately didn't make it to LAN for the 6 Masters, only got knocked out in the group stage. This is really their time to say, look, we earned our spot here in the Pro League and we deserve to keep it. They need, if they want to prove that, if they want to make that statement, they really need to step up here and take a fight to Sinister here.
Certainly do. And in my opinion as well, I was actually quite surprised when we did make a return back to the Pro League.
Man, you got to keep those legs nice and pro.
Nice and pro, yeah. The Pro League return was definitely had me surprised that Sinister was still on just only single point.
I feel like this season we really expected more out of Sinister, especially you know, they got their pickup of the Team Sinister organization, which has supported them quite a lot.
Yeah.
Sinister's been in Rainbow Six for quite a long time with North American teams, not in the Pro League, and now they've decided to pick up a Pro League team here in ANZ. Sinister haven't quite, I think, reached that point that they wanted.
Yeah, but they've been consistently within the Pro League as well. They were still hanging around, like, yeah, not the highest points in the leaderboard, but they were always consistently right there in the middle. Yeah,
they haven't been relegated for 3 seasons running, and they've stayed in that Pro League that whole time.
Yeah, but after so many roster changes, things at the moment might be looking up. I've been chanting away when Nico has been placed as a sub/content creator for Sinister. I kept on saying, just put him on core. You'll see him actually benefit the team. And seeming to be working out quite well, because even as well, for MEO, there was a big point that for most of the Sinister roster, it was the first LAN, but Nico already was technically a veteran, being that he played for Darksided a while ago.
And now we get into this next round. Only one more left in the half on Sinister's defense. Cryptic really would like, surely, to get one more on here before they head on to their own defensive side. So they'll bring out the Lion. That's JCZ. Taking control of this CCTV and cache side of the map first. We saw Cryptic did this really well last time. They got 2 picks. There's the first one. A second one is down. So this might actually look really good for Cryptic once again. My question is, can they follow up past this position?
Yeah, well, that will be the grand question here. Vicious is tagged up quite substantially, so the push might commence, but at the very least, I believe Vicious might be able to run away with at least a single kill here, which could potentially throttle up the push of Cryptic, considering the fact that before we saw plenty of times when Cryptic had the 1 or 2 man advantage, and they were still unable to get any closure on the round.
So Cryptic do have that map control now. They'll try to advance through construction. They haven't, I don't believe, opened up that west side jacuzzi wall, which really cuts off a lot of rotations. They didn't. Okay, they're going to try that now. Thermite heads over, tries to open up this jacuzzi wall. He'll need Serum to clear the bandit batteries. Fisher guy's still alive and could potentially bandit trick here. Only 1 EMP left, so he has to make good on it. There's a bit of time left, and it looks like 2 of the players will try to push through Logistic.
Yeah, with the drone already showing the position of Nico, Nico's position might be very much expendable, but dedicating 2 players for that push is definitely not what you want right now. Fisher got to take out striking, so that is minus Buck. And with Nico's position, he still is very powerful here. That ult should be able to deal so much damage, and the rotation hole would prove an escape route for the Sinister player.
Nico does have a safe area, but there's a great flank on for Fisho Guy. This could completely pull apart Cryptic. Can he get the kill with the Bailiff? He didn't even want to go for the reload on the Alder, and Cryptic falling apart. Sushi wants to go for that plant. No world is that going to happen. 2 left, no time, had nothing going for him. We're going to head to the second half. Sinister up 5 rounds.
See what I'm saying though, Dev? Like, Cryptic has a very good start. They will be able to, they can find those entry kills, they can clear out the roam, but past that first round, they were fumbling around close to the end. They spending either too much time on setting up some of the points, or they just, I don't know, maybe it's a miscommunication issue as well here, because all of those rounds, like a bunch of them, were Cryptics for the taking.
Yeah,
at least 2.
I reckon even the first round, like Cryptic had a pretty good roam clear, and Sinister just, as soon as they lost on that roam, they're like, okay, let's not try to do that anymore. We know that they're good at, we know that we're clearly not as good as them when we're in those situations, those roam situations. So let's just let them have stuff, because their time management is really terrible. In this game, Cryptic's time management has really been the death of them time and time again. And I think that Sinister is starting to learn that, starting to play around that. Obviously, things are going to change drastically now that we head into the second half with Cryptic on their defense. And I'd hope that Cryptic should feel a little bit more at home here. My main concern for them is if they want to take this as a win, they're going to have to win all of their defenses round. And even a draw is looking unlikely at this point.
Yeah, with that in mind, I definitely would have to agree with you here, Dev. Sinister certainly looking like they might be grabbing this first map pretty quickly, all things considered. Like you said before, and you were chanting, they did bring a secondary hard breach.
Only Sinister
Cryptic.
though, yeah.
Only Sinister, yeah.
Cryptic weren't so keen on the Hibana. I'm a bit biased. I love Hibana as an operator.
Yeah, Hibana main.
Yeah,
but only after Noarengo skin came out as well.
No comment. The Noarengo skin is amazing. So is the Hibana Elite. It's one of the hardest decisions I have playing Rainbow Six is which one of those to use.
Just Nora all the way.
Yeah.
So, support the teams.
Yeah, absolutely. So to talk about Cryptic for a moment, though, they are playing aggressive. They have a lot of 3 speeds with good guns, Vigil, Alibi, Jaeger, and they've got this Clash as well to gain information.
I'm not too sold yet on their Clash, considering the fact how they played during the attack. I don't think a shield operator will be able to solve their problems, considering the fact that Fisho is bringing in the frag grenades in here as well. And Coppa will be able to play uncontested Jackal, who will be able to be a gigantic pain in the butt for Cryptic.
This frag could be great, and it does do a little bit of damage, not enough, but surely that's going to scare away these Cryptic guys. Sinister are a team that for a long time they've loved to play this Dokkaebi, and her getting grenades in this most recent update, I feel like that's just going to add to that. Sinister have so much counter roam potential with this Dokkaebi and Jackal to hunt these roamers, and I think that really is going to put the pressure onto Cryptic.
Certainly seems to start like it. There's the second Inox usage. Come on, Coppa. You can do it. Just hold steady the F button. You can do it. Finally did. So there's the info on one of the anchoring players, but no positioning on the blue tunnel, which is, I think, was his intention initially.
Yeah, Sinister are absolutely reading into Cryptic playing aggressive. Well, at least they're thinking that Cryptic's going to play aggressive. You could see how passive Copper was on those angles, always expecting, what if someone's even closer than that, playing even more aggressive. Cryptic, when they're on the back foot like this is the time when they need to start playing aggressive. They need to take the fight to Sinister on the defense, but it's going to be so difficult to do that while Sinister is expecting it and bring all these operators to counter that aggression.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a challenge, but 53 seconds left to go. I'm curious how will the time management work out here for Sinister as well, because not a single kill has been dealt.
Oh, wallbang! How do you make that happen? That's so beautiful there for Copper. Just great recall control, and surely that really gives him a bit of confidence.
Oh, that certainly will, because that's the, well, any attempt to impact trick, because that was the Vigil with the impacts gone. So now it's all up to Striking to try to pull things off. Clash should be able to relay plentiful amount of information as well as slow things down, but it doesn't seem like it's phasing anything. There's the turnaround and just a quick flawless round from Sinister to put them on the match point. Things are looking all well and nice and tidy for Sinister, whereas on the side of Cryptic, no comment on this one, really.
If you're a Sinister fan, you've got to be really happy right now, though. Everything is going right for them, and they're playing really well about it. We got some key differences between how these two teams are playing their attacks. Not only did Sinister, for one, the obvious one, they brought a Hibana. They opened up more avenues. They opened up pretty much all the hatches that they could need. I don't know if they opened up the blue hatch, but it wouldn't even matter.
No, they didn't
much,
even
right?
need the blue hatch.
Exactly. They opened up the bar hatch. They opened up the kitchen hatch into stock. We saw that's how Luna got down so quickly. And even the micro plays, right? We had Cryptic at the end. Sushi was playing really aggressive on that clash. Sinister was the Dokkaebi Fisher guy. He was like, okay, you're going to play aggressive. I'm just going to go and shoot your teammate. I'm just going to run inside and shoot your teammate. What are you going to do about it? He tries to go for a bit of a swivel, and that doesn't even work. Like,
well, it defended him. Well, it defended the clash
for like an extra
from the
second.
initial burst of damage out the front. But I don't think the expectation of Luna dropping down straight away was there as well.
It was a 1v5.
Yeah,
that's never going to happen. I've heard it said before that when you play the clash, you put the pressure on all of the rest of your teammates to frag out.
Yeah.
If you have a shield in front of your face, and it goes for all of the shields that really you're not focusing on killing, if all of your teammates, if they're confident maybe getting 1 kill per round, suddenly that extra pressure, the lack of the frags that you're going to be finding because you're playing that shield, that supportive position where you're not going to be taking those fights, everyone else needs to step it up. And I don't think Cryptic has that right now. Not tonight.
Well, with that in mind, though, Cryptic potentially might be on the last round to attempt to bring themselves back, maybe, but JC will be already going down to a spawn peak. And that is not what you need right now.
Oh,
there's the grenade to kick things off, and that is, I believe, that is a double kill as well. Fisher guy just decides, yeah, let me really quickly punish you for that. Make it, rub in the salt as much as possible, and that drone will confirm that there will be a double kill.
Man, and I do love that Cloud9 outfit for Valkyrie, but it just didn't save him, did it?
You love to see those coconuts.
Yeah, oh man, Fisher guy. I'm sure as soon as he read the patch notes and saw Dokkaebi frags, hallelujah.
Yoink.
So things are working really nicely for Sinister. 2 early picks, just based on the fact of 1 player from Cryptic spawn peeking and then a great follow-up with the nade. Cryptic had a lot of players spawn peeking though. It was also Striking on the Legion, trying to find something. And Cryptic, at the end of that, they get no kills and they lose 2 players.
Yeah. Well, for now already the breach will be starting to happen. B-side has completely forfeited now to Sinister, with Cryptic already losing yet another player to Fisho's SMG-12. Batted off the board, leaving Striking and Jam to clutch things up. Jam, yes, he is a very great player, but I don't think he will be able to withstand the whole onslaught of all 5 players of Cryptic. Pardon, Sinister.
5v2, no players on site. 1 guy in garage, 1 guy Striking, just rotating back to site now. Jam is not long for this world as well. And now Sinister, I think they've realized they have control of site. They just run on inside. Fisher guy's Christmas, and that's the game. Like, it started, and then it went over, and now it's done.
Not a single chance was given to Cryptic to actually bring this back. Sinister were all the way, except for maybe the first round, in the power seat really here. And
7 straight rounds.
7 straight rounds in a row. Last time we saw a similar storyline or case was when Fury won over Fnatic on Cafe, which was flawless defense.
And that was a near flawless defense from Sinister, followed up by an impeccable set of attacks. There was no chance for Cryptic. At what point did we think, okay, maybe Cryptic can win this? Like,
well, okay.
There were so few moments.
On my end, I was thinking the reason that Cryptic would have been able to make it at least close was the fact that they had a transition of Sushi from the coach to the core player. So plus him being the co-IGL of this team, would have mentioned that it's just they had more coordination. Sushi already was all familiar with all the strats. He was the one who was initially cooking things up for Cryptic. But in here, it seems that the dragon on the mountain was just, yoinked over from the tip of the mountain and the new one arisen.
That's right. The Serpent does win here. Man, that was... I'm still kind of reeling from that game. I wasn't expecting Sinister to come out in the gate so far, because this is the team at the bottom of the Pro League who has just been doing terribly so far this season. They've had some flashy moments, though, in the recent times, because we had the Six Masters. They had a really good best-of-3 series against Oddity, when Oddity still had their full lineup, and we thought maybe this is Oddity's chance to get to land. Sinister just said, nah, sit down, boys. That was so good for Sinister, and finally, I think we're seeing that team again here in the Pro League, finally. Yeah,
it's certainly a good moment right now for Sinister. It was all the odds were against them, all the chances, and I'm pretty sure if we had the info on the what was the community thinking, I think it would be against them as well.
Yeah, well, there's still an opportunity for Cryptic to have at their redemption, because Sinister are back in the game and they're out for blood here. We have one more map coming up to you in just a moment. And we're back. It is the last match for tonight in the Rainbow Six Pro League Australia-New Zealand edition. We have Super Week coming up next week where we will find out which two teams from ANZ will make it to APAC finals and which team is going to go back to the Challenger League. I'm Dev. Cthulhu. We have just the one map left after a bit of a stomping of a first one.
It was, to me at the very least, it wasn't an unexpected stomping. We were
Wasn't
thinking...
unexpected?
It was... I was expecting rather a much more closer matchup.
Okay,
Sorry, I got tangled up in the thoughts here, but I was definitely expecting a closer game, maybe even a draw between those two teams, because both of them are currently sitting on 6th and 7th point, position. Well, before the map number 1, really, and it was. On paper, we were thinking that there could have been just 2 draws here or something across the lines. But
I had a feeling it would be closer than that because we've seen Sinister like bit of left, bit of right.
Yeah.
Cryptic, we've seen some good stuff from them in the past, but Sinister are clearly the better team at the moment. And if Cryptic want to prove me wrong, they're going to have to step up here. Let's have a look at where we're going to head for the second map tonight. Clubhouse, not going to play that one. We just did. Border is out of it.
That's a convenient ban for Cryptic, because they did get clapped there as well.
Yeah. Well, last time these guys played in the Six Masters, Sinister 7-1 Cryptic on Border, so nice that's gone. Cafe is still in it. We saw those two go at it last time in the Six Masters on that map, so maybe we'll head there. What else we reckon?
Well, with Coastline back, we will be seeing actually Cafe. So yeah. Okay.
It was 8-7 last time. So Sinister won, but it was very close. So maybe we have the opportunity here for a closer game.
But here's the thing. Back when they did play it, it was two, slightly different rosters. Sinister still had Arnie, and Cryptic had Nazgul in there with Sushi on the coaching side. And
it's about 2 months ago.
2 months ago. So so it's somewhat of an older result, slightly different setup what we see now. And I don't think I'm not rating just yet the whole Cryptic roster change right now, though.
Yeah. Well, Nazgul, who was their former player, he was just quite a good individual player.
Yeah.
He was pretty good fragger, he was good at stepping up in situations, and he had a lot of experience under his belt, but he clearly wasn't the right fit for the team, or so they thought, so they removed him from the team, or he was, he's departed from the team, and now we've got Sushi, who, as you mentioned, was their coach. So already has that pre-established relationship, not necessarily new blood, but still debut in the Pro League this week. Yeah, I think Cryptic just overall, there's still a lot to learn.
Oh yeah, they have plenty of
overall, but they do have players who have been in here in the Pro League for a couple seasons. Striking and Jam played for the old GRU or Taboo roster.
Yeah.
The same team that we saw Diesel and Strider come from. Diesel in particular, who's now made a name for himself on Wildcard. Yeah. So there are some good players here with some experience, but we're still kind of seeing where they're going to next.
Well, yeah, we should be able to see how and whether Cryptic will be able to recover from this one on Cafe Dostoyevsky. Ladies and gentlemen, Sinister versus Cryptic map number 2, and this would be potentially the decider of which team would go into the relegations at this point.
Sinister are on a run right now, and it is time for Cryptic to get their heads back in the game. They're coming off a win just last week in the LPL Challenger League. And, hopefully they can replicate their success. They're currently the top of the LPL Challenger Series over there. So if they want to try and replicate that in the Pro League, they're going to really have to step up here.
Yeah, they certainly do, because even with some of the performances in the Challenger League, this is a much higher skill ceiling as well. And
this is a higher level of play.
The thing is, though, with Cryptic, they can't seem to full-on stick to their plan, though. They have a good start. They have a good ability to out some of the roaming and some of the roaming players. And after that, just keep on just fumbling around the side and just can't seem to set up properly. But let's talk about the bans, though.
Well, I was just saying, one thing I will say for Cryptic that does give me some hope for them is they're on Cafe here, which is a map where we know both of these teams had a close game previously, and Cryptic starts on defense. Defense is most commonly a good map, a good side to start on here on this map. Get your comfort zone and start to move around with that, then work from there. Get that confidence up, something we've talked to from Specker about in the past, right? Get your confidence and work from there.
Yeah, get your confidence, but maybe sometimes the confidence can be also that killer as well.
Hello? Cryptic banning
what?
Mute. I think that's one of the first Mute bans I've seen ever. Mute and Thatcher, hey? I like that one. So, Thatcher's not an uncommon ban. A very powerful operator that has a big impact when we do see it banned. The Mute copper with the nothing, JC.
Yeah, we're just...
Okay, is this like a reference to the Mute ban?
Yeah, mute mains gather up together because this is a sad day.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, as soon as that Mute ban came out, Sushi in the chat was like, good luck, have fun. It was almost like, I feel like that was like a throwing down the gauntlet. It's like, bet you didn't see that one coming, huh? Good luck, have fun. And then all the other guys on the other team just sent nothing in the chat.
Well, he's hoping that for Cryptic, that won't be that much of a shot in the foot. Considering that on Cafe, Mute can do quite a few tricky things as well with his Mute charge. But for now, overall setup, both Maestro and Echo managed to make it through the ban phase. And that is something that we also need to mention, considering the fact that both of those operators have a fantastic utility and fantastic weaponry as well.
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of overlap, but we will see Cryptic use both of them nonetheless. Sinister banned out the mirror, so we won't see her played, and a lot of these anchors with ACOGs, and especially anchors with ACOGs gaining info. That's really what we see from Maestro and Echo here. Sinister does have a lot of utility to destroy the Maestro cameras with the Sledge and the Zephyr, but also the IQ to locate them and locate those Echo drones as well. So this is pretty good for Cryptic. I want to say also, with the Mute ban, they're going to utilize this Mozzie to deny as much droning information as possible. So I do like that. Man, this is the weirdest way to make a rotation hole I've ever seen. That was just...
Yeah, well, maybe
poking holes in the wall till it fall apart.
I mean, that's one way to go around it. But for now, Sushi will be the one to be playing on Mozzie. His, so far, PL debut is not seeming to be working out all quite well, but the pre-fires to come around from Sinister should be already keeping Cryptic on their toes, and considering the fact that it is a task for Cryptic right now, they need to bring things back if they don't want to get relegated. We should be seeing quite some performance from the defending team right now.
So the attack here on Cafe very commonly starts on the roof here. See, almost all players start on this roof. They want to get control of... You just need to establish a beachhead. The first thing is this top red stairs control. You need to make sure that Cigar's clear, so you're not going to get peeked through this doorway. Copper's cautious of that, so it's just going to hold the angle. Next step is Piano. That's why Fisher Guy is on this rappel to peek into Piano. He's quite exposed here, but it doesn't look like Cryptic's going for a run out, going for a peek onto him. And it doesn't look like it'll be too much trouble for Sinister to get control of Piano.
Yeah, well, right now, a dual pick to come out from the cigar shop as well as the... Well, potentially, I think, the cigar shop, as well as the bakery window on the top floor could potentially be able to force JCZ out of his position, but can he keep on holding it? Because the ADS will keep on chewing on the grenades and the impacts, but he does not need to be playing so aggressively right now, but forced to fall back will be giving full control of the Piano.
And there we do see Sinister file on inside. Typically the next step is to open up the wall of Freezer, but there's a lot of potential for Cryptic to make that a difficult. Maestro camera will be destroyed by a grenade. Great job there for Fisher Guy, removing that utility from Cryptic. It's also going to enable a quick rotation hole into the bar if he wants to do that. Thermite charge is going to go up, and we should see Cryptic pushed all the way back to Cocktail.
Cryptic had a good poking hole as well in the bathroom. I'm not too sure why the JCZ did not try to utilize that hole, but it seems that Fisher Guy will be nonetheless punishing him there, as well as striking double kills just like that, but Sushi won't be having any of that just yet. We'll be going down to Luna, so now the planet will be starting to go down, and the whole defense of Cryptic is just all falling apart, leaving all up to Jam.
Oh!
The diffuser will be actually denied from below, but already Sinister players are on case here.
Very low on ammunition here in the FO12. Only a tiny amount of ammo left. Got to deal with these gridlock track stingers. Can she deny the plant? There could be the round! And what are you doing? How does Jam pull that off for 1 versus 4?
Yeah, that
That's
was 1
crazy.
versus 4. A shotgun and a pistol in the hands and a dream.
No ammo in the shotgun too.
Yeah.
Like, what was that? What was that? No,
Boy.
that's not meant to happen. I'm so confused. There are so many things that went wrong there.
That was such a good start as well for the push of Sinister. They managed to take full control of B side. The plant nearly go down. It was a second away. They needed just a little bit. 2 times it was just this close to being planted down, but that was not the case. Cryptic once again take the first round for themselves, albeit this time off a clutch of Jam.
Yeah, surely that's not going to happen again. This is Sinister falling back into their old habits of, no offense, throwing away rounds. That's something that we saw Sinister always struggle to overcome. They would get into really advantageous positions, and something would happen. Something would happen, and it would prevent them from closing out that round. And it's like I was saying before, if Cryptic can get this early confidence here on their defense, we could certainly see a much more competitive game and a really good performance from them here on Cafe. I know it's early to call, but I wouldn't be surprised here if we see Cryptic win this map, or get a draw on this map, or make it very damn close for Sinister, because they're off to a good start, and that is only going to really snowball through the rest of the round, rest of the game.
Yeah, I think right now for Cryptic, they need to, at the very least, draw things out, just to, for the time being, to keep them away from that relegation position and forcing Fury into that very disadvantageous spot. But apart from that, so far, yeah, it was... look, it was a good play from Jam. The rest of the crew didn't really perform up to par just yet from Cryptic. Whereas on the side of Sinister, it was a very prone to fail round as well, how they had positioning. Oh, nice shot!
Did he have information there?
I think it was
Surely
just the pre-fire at the drones as well. That's the fun part.
He was going for drones. He got a lot more than he bargained for. Now a player rappelling upside down and just searching for him. We've seen when Virtue from Fnatic plays in this position behind the cupcake stand, he does so much damage. No one can dislodge him from this position.
I like what I'm seeing from Nico. I like that LMG as well. That gun is very rarely used as well in the Pro League, just due to the fact too that there's very low and that very very lengthy ADS speed. Striking will be the one to take care of Copper though.
So everything's working really well for Cryptic. Just 3 players left on Sinister. That Cloud9 charm really blinds you, doesn't it? Jam's taking a lot of damage. He does abandon that position on Cupcake. And in fact, all of Cryptic are playing a bit further back now. Most of Cryptic, 3 players away from the bomb site and just waiting for Sinister to file in.
Yeah, well, for now, this might be the case. Minute and 30 to go. And right now, Sinister taking full control of the front store of the bakery, leaving Cryptic at a bit of a peculiar situation because they have still full 5-man setup, but so far we saw plentiful amount of times when Sinister were able to bring things back even with a man disadvantage. And certainly it doesn't look like they will be even prompting to go for that main hallway push and potentially just go directly into the kitchen.
I like this from Cryptic as well. They've got a lot of rotation holes into the bomb site, and they're going to just play safely, wait for Sinister to make a move, try to go for the plant, because that's when Cryptic have the numbers advantage to overwhelm on the retake. A C4 prepped as well. This may well work. I'm not sure if that is in the right position. In fact, it misses, doesn't quite go far enough out the doorway. Now a smoke grenade's going to go down for Sinister, but that's met as well with a gas. He'll try to make an entry. Nico can find one. That's a good start. Can he find the second? No, he's taken out by the C4. There's still plenty of time to go, but Sinister's not going to have any time to use it because they'll just file on in and all fall to Cryptic, waiting to receive a good second round for the defense.
There we go. 2-0 so far. Cryptic bringing things back after what seemed to have completely destroyed morale after the clubhouse. Seems that the tilt didn't really get to them, and that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. And especially when we're talking about teams that have a bit less Pro League experience. We're talking about only a couple of these guys. Well, actually, to be fair, right, JCZ played for Power Players for a few seasons in Pro League.
That's
Jam
correct.
and Striking has played. I just realized there's only one I in Striking. That just is really going to bother me now. His name was clearly too long, so he had to remove one of the I's. So Jam and Striking played for Taboo, and Serum's also had some Pro League experience as well in the past. So Sushi's really the only one who's never had Pro League experience here. That said, none of these guys have played on like a top 4 team for a long period of time. They're not quite as experienced as players at the top end of the Pro League, but I feel like you deserve to give them credit where it's due.
Oh yeah,
and not tilting, not letting that really get to them. The fact that they got absolutely decimated on Clubhouse, that's really admirable.
Yeah, them keeping it all pretty much mature and all kind of stable is definitely going to be good for overall morale and overall long run. But I am curious as to, can they keep on contesting some of that like stability for themselves? Because before, during pretty much the inception of the Pro League within the ANZ, they were, well, most of those players that were in other teams, they were keeping a very consistent score. And even as a team, they, at least in the first half of the season, they were able to showcase that, yeah, they can stably stay around middle to bottom part of the scoreline, really.
So it's library defense now for Cryptic. They've rotated top floor, bottom floor. Now they have to move onto the middle floor. They've chosen this library one. I wouldn't be surprised if Sinister decides to go for something a lot more aggressive, push into the bomb site really quickly, maybe just rush into library, try to get that plant down. They do have Copper switching over to the Ash, so a 3-speed is really good in close quarters with the R4C. It's exactly what Copper's going to do. He can find the first one.
Wait,
and
what?
there's 2 frags with Fisho jumping in the fray as well. Cryptic will fight back though with Nico gone down. Now this is where we can't let it slip away for Sinister. Copper and Fisho on this great duo, they do help it. Sinister shouldn't overextend themselves here. Fisho guy has the diffuser. He needs to get back into the bomb site and fast a plant down.
Yeah, with already just the remaining person being Sushi going down, Sinister will finally be able to find themselves the point. And that was...
Man, I said it.
Yeah.
I said it. Are they just going to go for a rush?
They're just going to send it.
And it's not like they just, before the round started, they decided, all right, let's all fall in through this one door and kill everybody. That's not how you coordinate a rush. No. They actually really coordinated. They droned out the situation. They found out how many players were where they were. They got inside, and they really did everything they needed to. Yeah,
and they used the Zephyr perfectly. So the moment that impact charge went off, Ash was already in that doorway. She was already going in, gunning for those kills, and was able to actually protect Fisho quite well as well, because Fisho was about to meet the gunpoint of one of the defenders and nearly lost his head, but Copper was on that case. So overall, like you said, this was a very well-coordinated push and a very, very well-coordinated aggression. On the side of Cryptic, I don't think they were really expecting any of that play at all.
No, they certainly... Even after they did realize what was happening, it was just far too late.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for now, though, Cryptic still in the lead point-wise. 4th round to go, and they are returning back to the bar where they pretty much managed to score the first round win off the back of Jam, really.
This is a good sign, though, for Cryptic. Sorry, for Sinister, rather. It's a good sign for Sinister that they had the effigy to bounce back. They really felt like they could just coordinate a strat and make it happen.
Yeah. And if they will continue that trend, if they will continue to keep up the coordination, I'm pretty sure they will be able to take the second map as well, which will be propelling them even further on the leaderboard, really. I am, though, questioning a little bit how will Cryptic really pull this off, because yes, they have the point lead, yes, they have the setup, and they were able to counter some of the plays of Sinister, but after that Clubhouse showcase, really, I'm very much dubious about some of the successes of currently the defending team.
Don't think Cryptic's got it in them to take this map.
Well, it will be a hurdle and a half for them to pull off, all things considered, and they need to get as many of the points as possible on the defense. Like we said, Cafe is one of those maps that definitely favors the defense quite substantially.
But they do have that 1 round of attack first, and they did get very close on this bar attack as well. As you mentioned previously, it was just Jam on a clutch that really shouldn't have happened that gave Cryptic this round. So Sinister will take control of this red stairs. They've clogged up the staircase as well with those track stingers from Gridlock to really disable the flank. Now pushing on in, Piano is the next thing in their sight lines.
Ooh, I like this angle. I like this angle from Fisher, and it gives a clear angle as well into the right into the freezer. We'll be able to catch a couple of rotations as well off guard. With JC already teched up, he's bound to fall back to one of the safer positions, and he might be thinking that freezer might be it as well. So far, though, the breach did happen into the piano, and it will be left uncontested, but there is a Valkyrie right at that doorway into the bathroom, and I don't think Fishoga will be finding her, not at least yet. The peaks to come out, and will be finally Valkyrie to be the one to go very aggressive about it.
Jam elsewhere does find the 1 kill onto Copper, the Nomad. There was also a play downstairs earlier for Cryptic, but now still inside. Ooh, here's a run out. This is a very ambitious run out. No way this is going to work. Striking, come on, man. Luna does fire some shots his way, but it looks like he's not punished with a kill. So we still have this duel inside of Piano. Freezer's open, but Sushi is still allowed to stay alive inside of the washroom. Fisher Guy will try to throw a frag in, but I'm not sure if that'll be enough to finish him off. Sushi takes a bit of damage, but he's still alive.
Yeah, so for now, Fisher Guy, if he did go for a very aggressive peek, I would think that he would take it, but there is a ballistic shield in there as well.
Oh!
Vicious will be going down actually to the peak of Jam as well, who does have the back of the Valkyrie. So right now, things are working out pretty well for Cryptic.
This will have to be an entry for Fisher Guy. He does find the 1 kill. He knows the Legions watching this hallway. He just jumps straight on in. And that's a very dangerous position to be in. Now there's just 2 players left for either side. Nico can find... No, he can't even get that 1 kill. Jam's doing so much here. Plant going down. Can this be denied? Surely it's Jam to deny it. And I believe that's what happened. He did, in fact, got that finished at the end. So a great round for Cryptic. Sinister got close, but no cigar.
Indeed. Once again, winning the round of denying the plant. Once again, managing to drain Sinister's time for a fairly long while. And that positioning from Valkyrie was reinforced even further than I imagined, really. Having that ballistic shield, they were knowing that at some point Sinister would try to go for that very aggressive play, and they played off it very well. So kitchen service and cooking will be next up, and I do believe that that was yet another successful defense as well from Cryptic. So potentially we might be seeing a scoreline of 4-1 at the end of this round, but that's only a potential.
Yeah, Sinister got a bit stilted out last time they attacked this bomb site. Cryptic, Cryptic got lots of picks early. They had the numbers advantage. Sinister tried to file into the bomb site, get a plant down. Cryptic had too many angles to really prevent that from happening. I feel like last time it was those early picks, and then Cryptic's ability to play off of those picks to play passive. Instead of getting aggressive on the picks, just know that you've set up the site in such a good position for a retake. Get those picks, you have numbers advantage, pull back, play for retake, make Sinister make the next move, because Sinister will look for picks. If you're not giving it to them, then you're going to have the numbers advantage moving into that end of the round.
That is correct. And with the way how things been going so far, it seems that Cryptic did learn their lesson here after the clubhouse, considering the fact that Sinister did get pretty aggressive on a fair few occasions. So over here, it's certainly working out all quite well, reading on the aggression from currently what is considered now the team that could potentially win the series as well.
So it's a slow start. Looks like Cryptic playing very similarly how they did previously. Jam behind this cupcake stand. He has ADSs to protect him. There is that first pick, though, for Sinister. The reverse of what we saw in the past. I think that was a cheeky little peek hole from Luna, just hit with a knife into the bottom of that garage wall, so great job. Jam actually still has ADSs behind here, chewing up everything that they're throwing at him. 3 ADSs, he pre-fires, but he doesn't find anything just yet. He's going to contest that angle, but it's unwise of him to do so. Nico does get the kill. And there's the 2 early picks, this time going the side of Sinister.
And there we go, and the first set of track stingers will be actually pulled out to start spreading it out and around to make sure that nobody will be there standing right by that doorway. So that is one of the really good uses of the track stingers as well, to just deny some of that area and potentially actively play off that as well, because even when those track stingers are getting destroyed, you still get the notification that they're being destroyed on your screen. and definitely rated. So for now, Sinister are 2-man up, and it seems that Cryptic are on the back foot once again. JC to rotate around, and he's the only one who's actually offside and could potentially be the one to make the big play here.
He does have an avenue looking into the bomb site, and he has a C4 as well, but Copper right on the red stairs next to him is the one he needs to be most cautious of. And all the numbers are falling for Cryptic. It's now a 1 versus 5 for JC, near impossible. He may well catch the drop on Copper. He does get the first kill. That's a good start, but now the attackers have bomb site control. He can't even... Oh, he can find one. That's a good headshot onto Vicious, but Sinister currently just delaying time while Nico gets that diffuser on the ground. 1 versus 3. He'll have to ace up here to win the round.
Imagine JC actually acing up, though, here. But considering the fact that already all of the Sinister members did spread out around, this will be a challenge and a half to find all of them, really. He needs to go for that disable, because all 3 of them are just outside holding the angle, so he needs to be extra sneaky. Fisho is the first contender, but will be the one to actually shut things down. Nice little angle to go into that double doorway and keeping it all nice and safe as well.
Yeah, nice adaptations there on the attack for Sinister, and as soon as they had those early picks, Cryptic strategy just couldn't really work. They didn't have enough control. Copper's position on those red stairs really was hugely influential. The way that Cryptic had opened up the bomb site meant that the position from Copper could eliminate those key anchors on site, pushing Cryptic into an even less enviable position with so few players left. Playing for that retake only works if you have the numbers advantage, or at least a numbers equilibrium, and when you've got just 1 player, maybe 2 players left, that's just never going to work.
Yeah, well, for now we are going to go into Reading Room and Fireplace Hole, the last round of defense for Cryptic. And last time we saw Reading to be attempted to defend, Sinister just decided, yeah, we're just going to send it. Full aggression.
Yeah. And that super aggressive kind of rush strategy, strategic rush strategy, isn't going to work really 2 times in a row, at least you'd hope not. It's one where as soon as you've seen it once, Cryptic's going to be expecting, okay, if that castle barricade explodes, I know there's going to be 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and I'm just going to watch those guys. And you know, I don't think Sinister would be the type to try it one more time.
I mean, you never know.
Similar. They could try something similar. If they drone it out, they figure out they really think it's going to work. They see that there's a 1 player in their way. Take that one down. But I think that for Sinister, it'll require a little bit more thoroughness this round.
Let's see if that will be the case here. The run-out potential from JC could potentially bring him a kill, but a little bit, yeah, too early. Albeit that the relaying of the information was there. So if the timing would have been right, he could have actually gotten that kill, and there we go.
It was such a waste. I mean, that camera is such an obvious spot. Once the defenders know you're there, the attackers know you're there, he was detected outside, which means they would just look there, know that the camera's there, take it out. He didn't even go for the peek, really. He did it too early. I don't know, that was a bit of a waste for me.
Yeah, it certainly was. But oh well. So far, not a single kill on the side, and just as I said that I am expecting for at least one of the kills to drop, but it seems the only drop will be happening is on the red stairs from Fisher Guy to try to gain some meaningful ground as quickly as possible.
There are players upstairs that's ready to meet these attackers. Sushi playing aggressively now in the freezer. I believe Nico's above as well. Sinister are slowly but surely taking control of this top floor. They're looking in a pretty good position here. Still 2 players on the top to contest with. I sure hope they've gridlocked up that rear stairs as well to cover their back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. With already only the last set of track stingers remaining for Nico. Fisher Guy will be the one to go for the push, and that will be into the bathroom just to make sure that nobody is there, nobody's holding any fishy angles there. And we'll be able to hold up a nice little angle, and potential could be able to keep things going. There's the coconut going, but the ADS will be there to save the roaming player.
Now, where are the drones here? Because how does he...
Wait, what?
That should not have happened. Lack of drones, but still Copper doesn't get punished. Fisher doesn't get punished. Copper also on the flank watch. He does protect Fisher on those stairs. It's really a terrible position now for Cryptic. It looks like Sinister will equalize the round count. A minute to go. A 5 versus 2 for the attackers.
5 versus 2 indeed, and it seems that we might be staring down the 3 apiece scoreline. Serum still having a nice long angle onto that white stairs setup. Could potentially net himself a kill, but it all potentially might be coming down to how will the two of them will be able to bait essentially that aggression. There's the nice shot, but as it stands, really, Vicious will be trading out JC, and after being tagged up quite substantially by Serum, will be going down 1v2, so this is now clutchable.
Yeah, this is definitely a doable situation for Serum. He didn't get a single kill on the first map, and now he has to get 2 to clutch this round. He may well have spotted the Zofia player, but
oh boy.
It's a dance of time. Sinister only have 15 seconds, and they're not getting this diffuser down yet. They just don't have enough information. Serum is in a decent position. Is Nico going to be able to get this plant down? Serum sneaking up gradually. He's likely to be caught off guard here by Luna. She's watching the right angle. She just needs to click, and there it happens. Sinister close out the round, and they equalize us, going at 3-3 into the second half.
3-3 indeed, and that was by a millimeter of a timing. Neither of those two players initially noticed each other. Luna was literally hiding behind the bomb, and Striking just couldn't find her really at that peak initially, with either through the actual fireplace or the hole in the wall. And that pretty much spelled the difference for Sinister and Cryptic.
I mean, I feel like most of that round was just little problems for Cryptic. And okay, there was that one kill at the start with the guy in freeze that Fisho guy killed that he shouldn't have killed. It looked like Sinister was so lacking on drones that round that I almost never saw them actually droning things out. They did a really good job of holding angles, like holding flank positions, like the rappel on white stairs to prevent someone pushing up white stairs. That was really good. Luna also got a kill in a similar fashion, I believe. But I don't know. I feel like they did get gifted that round a little bit, Sinister. It was some nice play. But yeah, I want to see more drones. I don't know whether that was the Mozzie from Cryptic that kind of prevented that from happening. Maybe it was the fact that there was the Vigil, but nonetheless, they won't have to do any more attacks this map. And tonight, really, because we don't even have overtime here. So 6 rounds maximum are left. Cryptic certainly looking for that win, or at least the draw after that embarrassing performance on map 1.
Yeah, well, they certainly would need it to get themselves out, at least for the time being, out of that very desperate position, i.e. the relegation spot. And with Fury still remaining on a fair few games to be played as well.
As long as Cryptic actually keep up, like I think Fury is honestly probably the team in worst position to get relegated right now, because no. Fury have a couple games left, so maybe they'll be able to redeem some points through that. But Cryptic actually have the head-to-head win against Fury. So if it comes down to a tie in points, Cryptic will be ahead.
Well, one way or another, Cryptic right now are staring at a little bit over that grim picture, really, because if they will lose this map, they will need to rely on just a head-to-head difference between Fury, and Fury will, for Cryptic to stay in Pro League, they will need Fury to essentially lose all of their maps and not even draw out a single time. Which we wouldn't want to really bank on. That's what happened with Challenger League before Cryptic really qualified, and it would be a bit ironic if they would go out like that as well.
Yeah, so it's the first round of attack for Cryptic. We'll get to see what they like to do. They do bring this Jackal, Striking, playing with the PDW no less. I love this weapon so much. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but really easy to control recoil, huge magazine.
Yeah, and an ACOG as well.
Yeah, ACOG to that as well.
There's all the footsteps that Striking is seeing, but can't seem to scan, maybe a little bit too far away. But the breaching charge won't be also making a explosion into the piano, allowing Cryptic to gain some entrance here. But all the goo mines as well. JC, where is your utility? You need to be right on point. You need to be spearheading that push as well to just ensure that you can get those goo mines, and it seems that Serum will be the one to pay things up for Fisho.
Wow, that's 2 kills for Fisho now. All downstairs as well. He's really been running amok. In fact, he's easily been my MVP tonight. Such a good game on Clubhouse, and now stepping it up as well on Cafe. Oh, no way! Does he deny the Thermite? Sushi on such low HP. A C4 desperately to try to take him down. Good night, sir. It's just 2 players left for Cryptic here, and this attack has absolutely been dismantled by 1 man, and 1 man only. That's Fisho guy downstairs.
Triple kill for Sinister. Boy, oh boy, Fisho is just pulling out all the flexing power here against Cryptic, and it seems that Cryptic are completely toothless in that regard, unable to gain any traction for themselves right after those 3 rounds.
And there's just no time left now. Fisher Guy doesn't even need to actually flank here in order to be putting on pressure. He could just sit there, pretend that he's flanking. Cryptic can't look behind them. They have to look ahead of them. They can't look anywhere. 5 players to find, no time. It's a 1v5. Jam is basically dead. In fact, he is on the ground. He can try to withstand, but that ain't gonna happen. A flawless round, including a 4K for Fisher Guy.
I'm amazed at the skill of Fisho within the context of this matchup and today in general. Just look at this angle as well. And then the C4 through the very same angle through the opening in the wall. Perfect, just pitch perfect, trained, just wow. Well done.
It's pretty ironic that Cryptic actually brought quite a lot of utility to hunt that Roamer. They had the Jackal, great for hunting Roamers. They also had the Sledge, who's a great fragger downstairs looking for that Roamer. Fisher Guy, the first thing he did, kill both of the people that were hunting him. Just take them both out. And then he went and had an impact upstairs as well by using that angle from below to destroy the Thermite. Man, that was just so perfect. Everything that Sinister needed.
Precisely, and the rest of the roster didn't really need to move up around around the bar.
Just sit on your position.
Yeah, sit on your position, hold angles, and let Fisher essentially frag out.
Great placement of that Evil Eye there. Not one that you'd always look for. Often you're looking in front of you rather than looking behind you where that Evil Eye might be.
Yeah,
but
and it will usually be harder to be outed as well by something like, say, frag grenades. You would need something specialized.
Yeah, you got to cook it if you're using a frag grenade, and we do have plenty of utility from Cryptic, but I think the key is just seeing it and then being able to use that utility. But this bomb site, when Cryptic were defending it, they had some mixed results. They had a really good round at the start where they got those first 2 quick picks onto Sinister and locked down after that. Didn't let Sinister really find any kills after that because they played more for retake before Sinister to make the next move. The second time around, Sinister got the early picks. They pushed into the bomb site, picked apart Cryptic completely. We'll see whether this... I think a key here is which way is those initial frags gonna come? Where are the opening kills? Is it going to be won by Sinister, the defense, or is Cryptic going to step up?
Well, let's find that out as the action phase is starting up. Cryptic to drone up and around with Jam potentially might be the one to take point. Seems that Cryptic are also prompting to go for the back push as well around the garage and the white stairs, with Sinister already prepping up Vicious with a shotgun, who could potentially be the one to dismantle things around. Striking already knowledgeable about that position of the SAS operator, and I think if Jam would try to go for the push from up above, they would be able to score that nice frag on him.
Very early smoke grenade, but as you can see, Vicious has been completely spotted out by that drone. There's a bit of utility to cover him with that. Oh, that's an angle. He shouldn't be peeking that one. Someone's definitely going to be watching it, and that's a nice easy kill for Sinister to kick. For Cryptic to kick things off. That said, Sinister did find one in return elsewhere with the Sledge going down. Definitely worth it, though. JC here is literally just on flank watch duty. He's waiting to hear for this run out, pretending that he's not here. And Copper was very anxious to go for it.
Yeah, Copper wanted. He did actually go for a couple of run-outs, but stayed within the boundary of that bulletproof vehicle. And will be able to take down Ash just like that. Not even a single point of damage taken, I believe. And... I mean, 4v3 and Cryptic are on the back foot once again.
Great job. Ash Jägermain versus Ash Jägermain. That said, Cryptic have made some good control here. They've taken control of the VIP section and this corridor on the rear side. But they haven't opened up any avenues into the bomb site. Typically, you would open the freezer wall. Typically, you'd also go upstairs and open up some of the flooring to remove some of these defenders downstairs on the bomb site, but they're going to take out some of these players simply by holding angles and waiting for Sinister to expose themselves to them. This is actually a really good position now for Cryptic.
Certainly is. They still have a good positioning. It is a 3v3, and all the avenues have been opened up. At least a few entry points should allow the remaining Cryptic players to get themselves the frags and the kills. Cryptic striking to push it out with Sushi as well. Nico to go down, so that is opening up very nice angles, and as well as that, the kitchen the half of the kitchen side has been opened up. Luna to take care of Jam. So the plan will be still finally going down. And now it is a retake time for Sinister.
2 versus 2 though. This is doable for Sinister on this retake. Cryptic not going to play safe. They're going to just hold angles. Okay, playing in the freezer now. One directly on the diffuser as well. Luna's going for the flank here. She's going to be instrumental here if Sinister can pull it off. And she has to time it perfectly with Copper. Both of them have taken damage. They need to play this perfectly. Luna wants to go for this flank right now. She's cut off by the smoke and she'll throw a C4. Copper about to push onto one player. He can find one, but it's a 1 versus 1 now. He needs to get this second one to defuse, but there's surely no time, and Striking knows it. There's absolutely nothing Copper can do. Find all the kills, but there's not enough time for the counter defuse. He knows it. He's going to get off and fake it. And Cryptic, a close but very good round.
Yeah, good execution and collapse onto the one of the halves of the site and being able to go for the plant. It was also a good read, the fact that Luna will be going in for the flank. And overall, yeah, Cryptic, albeit that at the end of the round they technically did get wiped, still good execution. They do seem to still be able to bring it back and not fully forfeit it, because at the second half of the, at the second quarter of this map so far, it looked like they were about to fall back because Sinister did take 3 rounds in a row on the attack, and potentially that could have been spelling demise for Cryptic. But no, they still seeming to be bringing things back for a piece for both of the teams, and potentially we might be even seeing a draw, which Cryptic also do need.
And Cryptic are actually in a really good position now. Evening it up that early, it's a good sign here on their attacking half. When Sinister were on their attacks, they lost their first attack onto Kitchen. They only won it later on, and Cryptic retried that bomb site. So Sinister are just going to go straight away again, going downstairs. They can't return up to bar yet. For those who are unaware of the site rotation, in competitive, after you win a certain bomb site, the defenders cannot retry it for another 2 rounds. You have to wait for those 2 rounds before they can go back upstairs. So after this round, win or lose, Sinister can go back up top again. But I really think that needs to be a win rather than a lose, because we're talking about being... Cryptic get 2 more rounds, and that denies Sinister 2 points.
And Sinister need those.
Absolutely.
They certainly need, because right now, even with a 1 map, it's still 4 points only. So they need to get, at the very least again, both of those teams would love to have at least a draw.
Yeah, for Sinister, it's also a lot of good upcoming matches, with next week them going to be playing Fury, who is alongside Cryptic. Those are the 3 teams right at the bottom of the Pro League right now. So Sinister really needs to assert their dominance over Cryptic and Fury if they want to make sure they're far away from those relegation positions.
I think out of all those 3 teams, I think Sinister so far are the most organized, because before Fury were able to pull some storylines, but losing Spruce right now is kind of putting it at a bit of a question mark, really.
Yeah, even after a good performance on LAN where Fury did defeat Sinister 2-0. We'll see how things pan out next week for that one, but this is still Sinister's opportunity to prove themselves against Cryptic. It looks to be a tough match here on Cafe. Cryptic fighting tooth and nail for it after map 1 not going their way. It's this kitchen once again. It looks like Striking, assisted by Jam and Sushi with drones, going to be taking the top floor, going to take entire map control. And typically what we see on this bomb site is you open up the floor, you can dislodge some of those key players.
Yeah, well, Striking had a bit of a shaky performance before with attempting a roam clear. So far, 1 round did go his way. The initial one where they tried to do a dual roam clear didn't really work out that well. So for now, Cryptic attempting to go for quick dislodgement of the roam seems to be working out quite well, as Copper will be the one to go down to a nice Kobe from Team Cryptic and would allow the front bakery to be taken.
Clearly not enough ADSs placed for Sinister, and they do lose that player very early.
We did actually see Jam sitting with 3 ADSs before holding the front bakery, and that been working out quite well. But
this is a really aggressive play from Cryptic now. They've taken control of that front bakery and getting really aggressive. A great angle from JC as well to cut off the closet. Now he has such a good position here to prevent Sinister from retaking. The numbers advantage hugely in favor of Cryptic. That's only going to get furthered. Nico has to clutch up here. 1 versus 5. This really doesn't look possible, Cthulhu.
Certainly doesn't look like it, as the plan will be safely going down. No denial at all, and what will be denied is Nico's life in that round, as Serum will be the one to take things out, and a flawless round as well, Dev.
So, Sinister don't go to kitchen. Yeah, no, Sinister aren't so good in the kitchen. Cryptic are really the team who dominated that bomb site. 2 attacks in a row, both of which were fairly convincing. And in fact, the second attack was only more convincing from Cryptic. They did switch it up a little bit. They dedicated more players to this front side push, whereas last time they completely ignored it. And I think that really maybe, when Sinister lost from that backside push, maybe they decided, okay, we need to invest more resources into that rear side push, protect the freezer, protect the VIP section, and Cryptic didn't even push that. They just pushed the front. That was where Sinister were exposed. Now, Cryptic are on one round until they guarantee themselves a point here, which is certainly a desperate position for them. They do have 2 very difficult matches coming up in the next week with Mind Freak and Wildcard. I think they'd be hard-pressed to win either of those matches to get a single point out of them. So
I think even juicing those matchups for a draw could even be still worth a try.
Oh, for sure, but it'll be very difficult.
Oh, yeah.
And so if we can assume these guys are not going to have as much luck against Wildcard and Mind Freak as they have here against Sinister, they really need to get at least that 1 point here on the draw, get themselves a nice leg up over Fury. They're currently, I believe, tied with Fury for points, but they do, as I mentioned, have the head-to-head victory over Fury, the head-to-head result. So if the 2 teams are tied, Cryptic will be ahead. And I really do think it's going to be a fight between Cryptic and Fury for that last place position, the relegation spot. Copper wants to go for the spawn peek. Nah, Sushi is going to take your head clean off. See you later.
That was a nice shot as well, because that was, I barely even saw that pixel when Sushi actually peeked for that. So well played by Cryptic to shut things down early into the round, and that was also a good idea from Sinister to initially have that initial aggression, slow things down for Cryptic, and then try to pick them one by one. So right now for Cryptics, they need to be very careful and cautious about how they approach, because they may have a good start, they may have a nice few early kills, but when they get to the end of the round, that's where they start fumbling around, and that's where they need to emphasize their attention.
So maybe Sinister playing more aggressive was the play, but it didn't work for Copper. We'll see whether they can utilize it through the rest of the round. Last time this bomb site was attacked by defended by Sinister. It worked really well, basically on the back of Fisher Guy, who was roaming downstairs, got a 2K with his rifle, and then moved on with this C4 to finish off the thermite, deny the thermite charge on the freezer wall by some holes in the floor.
Ooh. Nice angle as well. Pretty simple angle from Nico, but could be very effective as well.
It's Nico we're talking about, right?
It's Nico, yeah.
He's the king of angles, and he's demonstrating some good ones. It really fits that operator and role of the Maestro. Hunting downstairs is JCZ. He's going to gobble up Fisho Guy. Great job there to take out that heavily impactful Mozzie and deny that vertical play from below. Cryptic's looking to be in such a good spot right now.
And that was the Mozzie that before managed to pretty much turn things around single-handedly as well. So for now, Sushi to be able to breach both of those wall patches, things are not looking all swell right now for Sinister. Vicious is just about to go down. He's literally in a slither of health, and will be able to actually force back to the white stairs. So for now, Sinister are in a bit of a peculiar position, because they're literally a 1 round away from being guaranteed that they won't be getting any 3 points whatsoever. And Cryptic are so close to gaining that draw point at the very least.
This numbers advantage squarely in favor of Cryptic. It means they have the liberty to play extra players downstairs. Sushi's going to try to go in this plant. Whips out the pistol, gets into that plant position. Oh, it's such a close angle for Nico, but he can't deny it. The plant's going to go down on the ground. A 3 versus 5 retake on Cafe Bar. Surely this is not possible. Nico can't find the first one. There's no refrag as well. Striking, shutting them down. All up to Luna now, flanking through Piano. She can find one on the drone, but she's got 4 more to go. 3 more to go, but there's nothing she can do to make a difference. There you have it. Cryptic up 6 rounds, and we have match points.
Match point indeed, and with this pace so far, Cryptic might actually be able to bring things back and grab themselves a map point as well, pushing them even further away from Sinister and Fury, actually, for that matter.
Yeah, man, if we see Sinister win the first map, Cryptic win the second map, Fury is almost certainly going to be hitting up that relegation spot. But both of these teams, they're fighting tooth and nail to get away from relegation. It looks like almost both of them are winning right here. By exchanging maps, they're maximizing the amount of points. When you have a draw, if you think about it, a win is 3 points for one team, 0 points for the other team. A draw is 1 point for each team. So there's 1 point that just gets lost in the mix there. So by both of these teams getting 3 points each, it's a much better result from them from drawing both maps.
Yeah, it's certainly a best case scenario. Well, so not the best case scenario, but more optimal case scenario here for both of those teams. I would say that Sinister will probably be still very happy with their performance. They did manage to get away from that relegation point.
The thing is, Sinister is a team where they want to be hanging out with the big boys. They want to be up there with Mindfreak, Oddity, even Orgless and Fnatic, rather Wildcard and Fnatic. That's what Sinister wants to be. Like, they made it to LAN. That's where they consider themselves, right? They don't want to sit at the bottom of the Pro League. They want to get up there and stay on top. And you can't do that when you're losing matches to Cryptic.
Yeah.
And that's not acceptable for their standards. So Sinister really, they can't let this slip away. Obviously, they've got to be happy with such a dominant performance on Clubhouse. Cafe, we were a bit worried coming into this map, seeing that it was a close game between these two teams previously. Sinister won at 8-7 in the Six Masters when these guys played head-to-head. But Cryptic clearly have made some improvements since then and are looking much better here on Cafe.
Yeah, and so far, even on attack, Cryptic have been proving that they can coordinate it very well. It did seem that maybe Clubhouse was a little bit of that warm-up, maybe a little bit of an expensive warm-up, but warm-up nonetheless. I'm curious, though, as to whether striking will be taken down on the run-out, because I do believe Luna is knowledgeable that there is a repel right outside the window.
Sinister seem to be still playing aggressive. I heard a C4 detonate, didn't find anything, but Sinister, last time they had Copper going for a spawn peek. This time they're throwing out C4s nice and early. They really want to find these early picks. I feel like most of these rounds, the early picks have really dictated the weight of the rest of the round, and which way it's been falling. And Cryptic have absolutely gained their confidence here. You can see Jam here on the entry. He's got so much more confidence than what he had earlier now that his team is up, and that makes such a difference for an entry player.
I'm curious as to if Cryptic will be able to spot the fact that, hey, there is a hole in the floor where we got shut down before. I don't think Serum is knowledgeable. Oh, his position could be exposed very quickly if that will be the case. As right now, that shot from below could seal the deal. Fisho is the first man to potentially deny any push. And with half a round remaining, Cryptic are just about to start going for the big plays.
Cryptic are still hunting downstairs, looking for that player. That's the one that made such a difference previously. Luna's outed, but there's still that roamer downstairs. Previously it was Fisher on the roam, but I believe it's Copper now as Fisher's playing upstairs in the freezer, and Copper's not sure exactly where he wants to move to. He does not have a C4 to use through the floor, but he does still have that great rifle in his hands.
Yeah, and only with the last mag remaining, things might start to get heated up. There's the thermite charge to be denied as well.
There you go. A great usage of the Cade.
Yeah.
And Fisher guy as well with the TCSG finds a pick.
Yeah, finding a peak is definitely what they want right now. And Copper to take out JC is certainly something that they need ASAP. 3v4 with 30 seconds left to go, and Cryptic are now stalling out. Not what you want right now, but the breach finally is happening, so maybe we will be seeing some entry frags. Nico on the back foot there at the cocktail lounge should be able to deal just enough damage from the remote position, but the flat smoke grenades should be ensuring some of the good movement. The damage is being dealt so heavily, and Nico will be able to finish things off. The drop down full on Assassin's Creed style will be ensuring striking the kill. Another one! No, just so much damage, just can't connect at all. And the time will be running out. Vicious to close things out. Sinister are bringing this back, ladies and gentlemen. 5-6 scoreline so far.
It took them 2 tries, but they eventually get Bar back under control. The problem here is they're still on match point. This is the final round of this map, the final round of tonight. 5-6. Are we going to a draw? Are we heading to a 7-5? And Sinister have to go to another bomb site. They've tried Bar. They won it twice, lost it once. They've tried Kitchen, and that just fell apart twice in a row for them. So they're going to try something new. They're going to head to Reading Room, Library. They won it twice on their attack, so they know how to take this bomb site. Maybe that's going to feed into their ability to finally make a difference, crack through, and draw us up here on match point.
What is interesting to me is that Copper is bringing, initially showing Pulse, then bringing in a Castle. So potentially Sinister kind of toying around with the idea of a bit of a more active roam, having active info gathering as well with the Pulse. But instead we'll just rather delay the time, delay the utility as well with the usage of the Castle, and as well as that allow some more movement room right now for themselves, because they need as much of the advantages, as much of the time drained right now for their defense, since they are on the back foot here. They are the ones that are about to potentially lose out on even 1 point, and that could make a big difference right now.
Yeah, it is Sinister who really get to dictate the pace of this round. However, with that Castle, that will go to Reading Room. This was the bomb site where their rush the first time worked so well, and their slow and steady take of the top floor the second time worked so well as well. Looks like they will invest quite a lot into this top floor. As we can see, Castle barricades, a lot of rotation holes, shotgun holes being created as well by Sinister.
Yeah, they're just opening up just a couple of holes just to make sure that, hey, we are going to have just a good sight line into those peak points. Nico as well, once again, in the cocktail lounge, will be the main troublemaker at the top floor, and he was performing pretty well, all things considered, having the ability to hold very long angles very steadily. Definitely shows a good performance.
So this top floor needs to be droned out. Serum does spot one, but he loses the drone for it. One drone for one piece of information, maybe a bit late. Fisher guy, however, does have a drone of his own there. Serum wants to chuck down a grenade, but he's not sure he'll get this kill, so it's a lot of utility to waste. It'd also be incredibly dangerous for him to jump down here. I feel like Cryptic needs a bit more information before they can make this call. He's going to go for this grenade. I don't think this is going to go under the door. It does just destroy the door, but doesn't do any damage whatsoever to Fisher.
And so for now, though, it will be able to put just enough pressure onto Fisher and his position. As it stands, the breaching charges are just about to come out, and boy, oh boy, Moze needs to floor it from there. And that's exactly what he will be doing. They are falling back to the cocktail and the white stairs. And slowly but surely, Cryptic are chomping away at the positioning of the top floor roam, but so much utility already being used up just to make sure that the roam is cleared out. But if they will be able, though, to take care of all the roam, they will be at such a high advantage, because so far 4 people are off site.
They're all heavily contesting this top floor right now, Sinister, with these roamers. Cryptic clearly haven't read into that. They do take that first player off upstairs. Sinister going to stay and fight, or are they going to drop down? Looks like it's a drop down. So Cryptic should have this control of the top floor. They won't quite know it yet, so it'll take them a little while to realize. But this isn't a terrible position for Sinister. Despite being a man down, they still have wasted a huge amount of time. They have bomb site control. There's a pick as well. Serum gone down. Really, this will come down to Cryptic having to find the last of these frags or try to force down a plant on the site. And that's going to be very difficult with so many ways that Sinister can deny it.
Yeah, defaulting back to the side definitely worked out pretty well, considering that they didn't get, at the end, the trade with that C4. But I feel that the play from Fisher might be coming out very soon, because this man was able to turn the whole round around. There's the trade to come out on Sushi, as Fisher will be the one to go down. The plant needs to keep being stuck, and it seems that this might be the case. There's the down onto Jam, and the plant did go down. The shotgun is doing some amazing work, and it is up to JC to clutch things out. He needs to get those points. There's Luna going down. 1v1 situation. He will be able to clutch things out. Cryptic grabbing themselves another set of 3 points, ladies and gentlemen, as the two teams do trade the maps and will be able to stay away from that relegation spot for now.
And that turned around within the blink of an eye, too. It was such a close round, but it looked like Sinister was still in a great position. A really good entry, wasting enough time to get that diffuser down, and then a great clutch at the end from JCZ. Such a good performance, 13 kills to his name. Still didn't top the scoreboard overall with Fisher Guy. A great whole Playday for Fisher Guy, despite the fact that they only won the one map. And that was a 1-7 on Clubhouse, tightening it up to a 5-7 for Cryptic on the map number 2. I think that's definitely a result that Cryptic can be proud of.
Yeah, it's certainly a good showcase, especially after the fact how demolished they looked after Clubhouse. And all in all, I mean, for both Sinister and Cryptic, yes, it's not the most optimal result. Oh, sorry, not the best result, because both of those teams wanted those 6 points overall. But it's probably the most optimal one for them, for either of the teams not to lose out on that Pro League, really.
Yeah, and that's right. Like, this is all about fighting for that relegation spot. We've been talking about it all night. These are two of the bottom teams in the Pro League. They've now leapfrogged over Fury, I believe. And as I mentioned, Cryptic still has the head-to-head win against Fury. So if they tie for points, Cryptic will still come out on top. But Fury will be Sinister's opponent next week as well, on top of Oddity, who they'll play. Both teams that they're capable of beating.
Yeah.
We've seen them beat them in the past, but both teams that could present a challenge. So Sinister, they're not out of it yet. Like, it's still possible that Fury can jump back over both of these teams. We haven't locked in who's going to be relegated yet. Just as we haven't locked in who our top two are to go to the APAC finals. But Sinister and Cryptic, that's a bit of a dream for them. Maybe next season. That's definitely the goal at the end of the day. But right now, you focus on what's imminent, and that's staying in the Pro League for another season.
Yeah, and I was actually quite convinced that we will be seeing a 6-point lead. Well, sorry, not the 6 points. 6 points to be grabbed by Sinister from Cryptic. But thankfully for Cryptic, they were able to bring things back.
Yeah.
Working out pretty well. And yeah, all in all, this is definitely a good setup. But Fury versus Sinister, that could be Six Masters 2 Electric Boogaloo here.
A lot of rematches is what we see.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even today was a rematch from the Six Masters group stage, and certainly Cryptic have stepped it up since then. They got out 2-0 last time around, a 7-1, 8-7, but both maps did go the way of Sinister. I guess the first map tonight was starting to make us think that we were going to see that again, but no, Cryptic absolutely bounced back on Cafe. They've certainly been practicing that map. They had their revenge, right?
Yeah.
Sinister won Cafe last time these guys played it, and Cryptic win it this time. The Battle of the Dragons seems to be even up with one map apiece. That's a pretty good position to be in.
You could say, you could call today is the Double Dragon.
It is. It is the Double Dragon. So I want to know, what do you reckon Cryptic from here on out? Because they're the team that we've had our doubts about.
Yeah, well, I reckon if Cryptic will be able to either just stick to essentially just drawing out at the very least, or at the very most keep getting at least 2 more wins. Yeah, 2 more wins. I think they will be safe. If they lose even a single map, it will be putting even more pressure on them, and they do not want to be in this position right now at all. Whereas on the side of Sinister, they kind of proven that, hey, we can play out. We have the coordination. They showcased us this on Six Masters. UBXP was a good team bonding exercise for them. And right now they showcased a fantastic game on Clubhouse. So they have the potential, but they need to keep emphasizing, they need to keep practicing. And maybe something across the lines of a boot camp could reinforce that.
Yeah. Well, we'll get a chance to talk to them later. So let's have a look at what we did today. We played 2 best of ones, and wow, it really kicked it off with a bang. Sinister looked so good on Clubhouse 7-1, but that second map wasn't quite the same. I mean, if I'm Cryptic, I got to be happy with that result. That first one up there, Clubhouse, maybe it wasn't the map that they were expecting, or maybe Sinister's really been practicing on that one.
Yeah, it could be either or, because really Sinister has been showing some good training possibilities as well. Shifty, their coach and team manager, has been also saying that they have been practicing. They've been counter-stratting as well. So all in all, it's definitely showing up to be quite well.
So let's have a look at where this leaves our teams in the Pro League. Oddity's still up top. Oddity, Fnatic, Wildcard, Mindfreak, those are the guys we saw play yesterday. We're still not sure which of those will make it to the APAC finals to play for a spot at the Tokoname Pro League finals. But at the bottom, that's what we'll be talking about tonight.
Yeah, and look at those, the 6th and 7th, a single round difference between Fury and Sinister. So Sinister are far from over their whole run. They need to get as many wins as possible, as many maps and rounds, because right now they're still risking. If Fury gets anywhere and starts winning the majority of the rounds, even if they would be losing, say, the maps, Sinister will be falling back into the relegation spot.
Yeah, and Sinister Fury, that's going to be a match for next week. So definitely one to keep your eyes on, because as you mentioned, they are only 1 round apart in their round differential overall. After that match, we'll have a head-to-head result. That takes precedent when it comes down to a tiebreaker if the teams are on even points. But if they're on even points, it's because they both drew each other or they both took a map off each other. So it may well just come down to that round difference, which is going to be a bit scary for those two teams. Neither of them want to get relegated. Sinister have played how many seasons of Pro League now? So very many times they've been in the Pro League and they've never been relegated before.
Yeah, and that would be a very scary thought to be relegated as well. Albeit that probably if they would end up entering Challenger League, they would still be able to plow things back on.
Yeah, the way that our Challenger League works, you go back into Challenger League, you can just win the Challenger League in the off-season of Pro League and then come straight back into Pro League for next season. That's what Power Plays did, and it's pretty likely that I think if Sinister did that, if they got relegated, they would probably come back.
Oh yeah, and I would also think that even if they would get, say, relegated into Challenger League, they'll bounce back, and coming back after the off-season of Pro League, they'll be even more warmed up because they would get experience, well, not probably the highest level that they would want from Challenger League, but it will be experience nonetheless. It will be one of those moments when, yeah, we're all prepared. We've tested. Potentially they could use it as a testing ground as well for any further strats. And overall, really, I reckon Sinister could bring this back.
But they're not there yet. They haven't been relegated yet, and there's still a chance for them to stay in the Pro League. Let's talk to Copper and back from Team Sinister. Hey, Copper, I just want to say a congratulations on the 7-1 earlier tonight. Really well played, but what happened on map 2?
Well, I don't know. The attack half, like 3-3, that's good for Cafe. It's decent, but then defense, it's like we were just, I don't know. It felt like I was failing the team a lot, and we're just losing rounds that we really shouldn't. Like, we're just playing it differently. Like,
I feel like every time I talk to you in these interviews, you're always blaming yourself. You're saying, I didn't perform like I needed to. Is that something that the whole team talks about, or is this like a very much a self-deprecating thing? Is this something that you inwardly focus on? Do you think more about how you need to be doing better, or is it a team thing?
Well, personally, yeah, like, I am very, like, I want to be the best possible player I can be. So I'm always grilling myself if I am doing wrong, but I honestly think like I could have cost a few rounds there, for sure. But as a team, like, yeah, we didn't, like, it wasn't so as cohesive as we should have been on defense. But yeah, like, me personally, I just want to always keep getting better. So yeah, I don't know.
It's a great attitude to have.
My question is, between, say, the clubhouse and Cafe, during the clubhouse, you were able to read in all really well. I mean, 7 rounds in a row on Clubhouse to be able to close things out was a very convincing scoreline. In your opinion, what really has changed either within your team or how you perceived Cryptic really on the second map?
The first map, like, even after we lose the first round, we were insanely confident, like, just on attack and defense. Like, the comms were like, just like very confident. Our plays just confident. We were super like just chill and just knew what we wanted to do. And then when it came to Cafe, I think they slowed us down after the attack half, which was what we expected. And then we just didn't get warmed up to the Cafe defense, which is I'd say yikes from me, because Cafe defense, that should be some freeler, but not exactly for us this game.
Yeah, it was certainly a tough one. Now, I wanted to take a step back, not necessarily talk about this game tonight, but overall the team and how you've been going, because it was a bit of a rough start to the season, but when you came into Six Masters, I think you got to be happy with how you did. You made it to LAN, and you got your debut LAN experience, and then coming off of that, you went to Ubisoft Experience, where you had a bit of a chance to have fun. What's it like when you guys actually get to meet up in real life and have those team bonding sessions, have that opportunity to really play on LAN? Do you think that is something that really contributes to the team building in the long term?
Yeah, 100%. Like, the internal state of the team can be like changed so much just by being around each other, because like things get misinterpreted so much when you're online and when you're talking through comms, text, chat. It's just, like, things can just be interpreted differently when you don't have that body language. So being one-on-one or like with the team in person is very helpful to just kind of get along with each other a little more and just understand each other and have that perspective. So you kind of see that, oh, we're all human, we're all in this team because we want to be here. So it definitely contributes to that. And obviously if you're going to use that time for like strategy and all that stuff, then 100%, yeah.
So next week you guys are versing up Fury. What in your opinion will be the main thing to look out for the Fury and for that matchup in general, and how you feel about it?
The main thing to look out for them, like, well, for us to look out for what they're going to be doing is just they can do very unexpected plays, very unexpected holds. But you can VOD them and you can see what they generally try to do. It's going to be difficult for us though because Fisher won't be playing because he has a university trip. So we're going to have a stand-in for that, and for the Fnatic game. So it's going to be a little bit harder, but hopefully we just frag out and take a point. Yeah.
All right, it's going to be a rough road next week, but I know you guys are always up for a challenge. Thank you for joining us tonight. Is there anything you want to say to, I'm sure, a lot of people who've been watching you, Six Masters, Ubisoft Experience, your fans out there? Anything you want to say to all those guys out there?
I mean, it's incredible the amount of support that we get online, just on Twitter and everything, like from the org. Absolutely love Sinister. They've been so great for everything. Like Priest as an org owner as well. He's such a lovely guy. I respect him a lot. And just overall, yeah, just thank you. And it's been a rough season, but bounce back, see what happens.
Best of luck next week, Copper, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Man, he's always a bit of a down. Like he struggles, man. These defeats, like, they really hit him. We talked to like Silix last night, and he was still pretty happy, even though they hadn't had a great performance against Oddity. But I feel like Copper is a guy who he really cares, man. He really cares.
But I think those defeats do settle only after the full matchup is over. He still is one of those players that I think is able to keep the emotions in check during the actual play day. And then after it, well, the loss is a loss, unfortunately. The second map didn't really work out for Sinister, but I mean, he still should be proud. The team worked out pretty well. And that one note that he pointed out, Fisher not playing next week, that is an alarming thing as well, at least in my book, because you mentioned it as well. Fisher today was the MVP pretty much for both of us, I'd say, on the side of Sinister. Like, he was able to turn around a fair few rounds, really. And if that will be the case, I'll be really wanting Sinister to get as much practice as possible with that stand-in.
Yeah, so definitely a hard road ahead for Sinister, but let's talk to the team that made an upset today. It's Cryptic. And we have Striking joining us tonight. Hey, man, great to see you again. I just want to say congrats, man. I think you exceeded expectations for a lot of people here in your match tonight.
I appreciate that, Dev. It's unfortunate we couldn't deliver on the first map, but to be honest with you, that first map, they were really well played. I respect Sinister for what they did on that first map, and we didn't come into it with the right type of confidence, and they made us pay, but I'm glad we could upset in the second and recover. That is what we're known for, so hopefully we'll do it again.
So let's talk about the maps for a minute. You mentioned map number 1, Clubhouse. That was a 7-1 against you guys. Was that a map you were expecting? Last time you guys played against Sinister, you got 7-1 on Border, went on to Cafe and had a closer game. This time Cafe was much better for you guys, but you still had that hiccup at the start. Was that to do with the map phase? What do you think that really threw you guys off there?
We expected Clubhouse. Credit to Turtle and Drags, in particular Turtle. They've been predicting Clubhouse and Cafe as the two maps for over, I'd say, 4 or 5 weeks at this point. It just came down to us, one, not maybe necessarily picking the right bands, and 2, the big one, us not going in with enough confidence. You would have seen how we played on Clubhouse. We very much let them come to us. Knowing that Sinister is an aggressive team, we almost took a back seat because we knew the stakes on that game. We weren't taking our own gunfights, and that's something in the half break that I discussed with the team, and we all discussed together in taking those gunfights, because ultimately Sinister's on the same tier as us, as far as I see it. So there's no reason why we shouldn't take those gunfights, and it ultimately paid off.
Very well. I'm curious how you guys think you will fare in the upcoming matches, because technically you are managed to finally run away from that relegation spot for now, but it is dependable on how would Fury at the end also perform. How do you guys think will the next play week essentially shape up?
So we're versing Mindfreak, and they are a very interesting team in the way they play. They've got a nice mix of strategy combined with some really strong gun skill. To be honest with you, I do think they are very temperamental, and whether they show up to game day or not and how much they respect us will play a lot into how close the games are. So we'll see how that plays out next week. I'll just say we've got our prep in order. We know the likely maps they're going to go to. It's just a question of whether we show up as a team or not. That's consistently what we tend to struggle with. Is we ramp up, we start really slow in most of our matches. You can go back through any Pro League VOD and see that we struggle with that initial starting point where we can lose traction on the game.
Okay.
I guess following on from that, you mentioned the prep and you mentioned all of your coaches behind the scenes as well. I've been thinking a lot about prep recently and the way that different teams do it. A lot of sparks from conversation with Fnatic where they said they don't prep for the other teams, at least that's what they said at Six Masters. They prep inwardly, and it sounds like a lot of the prep you guys have been doing is more counter-stratting. How do you see it, and is there a particular focus on looking inwardly at your own strategies or what you're doing, or focusing more on what the enemy is doing? How does it look like when you do your prep?
So generally speaking, when we do our prep, it is mostly inward focused. We get Turtle and Drags to do our statistics up on whatever team we're coming from. They do those spreadsheets up. We know generally what maps they're going to go to, and we review VODs. Based on that, we usually know some very key differences that they run on certain strats, especially if they're not a team that changes very often. Fury would be a really good example of that. They don't change their strats that often. So in that respect, we prep for those very big variations, but mostly with bringing Sushi on board and losing Naz, the big change there has been getting Sushi acclimatized to the pattern of droning, the speed of droning. He is fresh to Pro League. He's adapted great, but most of our focus right now is inward, because you'll see a lot of our rounds we lose just through a bit of disjointed peeking, like some lack of coordination. So I'd say it's about an 80-20 split. Like, our stats are important because we want to know what maps we're going into, but other than that, like a lot of the prep just goes into specific Rio clearing.
Well, I think that this is the first time that you guys have played in the Pro League under the name Cryptic. Am I wrong there, or is this the first time you guys have played under the new org? Yeah, so I just want to say congrats on the org pickup. It did happen a little while ago, but I think it was over the Pro League break. So congratulations on the org pickup, and I hope that they're supporting you, and I think you guys have done them proud today. Anything you want to say out to your fans, to the organization, anyone watching?
I'd just like to say a big thanks to anyone who's a fan of us. We appreciate the support, however little it may be. And a big thank you to the org for how much they've supported us. They took us on board on a whim, looking to support us and build us up. They've done that to a massive effect. Massive thank you to Logitech ANZ as well. I have to give them a shout out for dropping a lot of our mishapped gear and replacing it all. So with that in mind, that's pretty much all I have. Hopefully you can tune in next week and see a surprise there too.
Yeah, I hope so. All right. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations on the victories tonight. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Man, Striking is always such an eloquent guy. Like, he jumps on the camera and he's got it, man.
He's always prepared for any questions that we throw at him.
A silver tongue.
Yes. And you got to respect the man for that.
Yeah. So, I mean, also, I like the fact that he's just so aware of what his team does, what they're good at, what they're bad at. And I think that's really, obviously, the first step to getting better, to improving, is admitting what the problem is and being able to address that. I think that the way that the maturity and the way that Striking speaks, he's always hitting the nail on the head. And I think that we're starting to see that progress from the team.
Yeah, they're certainly making a good progress overall, and like they mentioned, having the coach and the analyst as well is certainly working out just wonders for the team. Really, they managed to bring this back. Like he said, they seeming to have a little bit of that hard time spinning up, just getting warmed up for all the players. But seems that even in the introduction of Sushi didn't really phase them that much.
Yeah, and
especially on the second map.
Yeah, it sounds like they've been making the strides needed to incorporate Sushi into the rest of the team. So a good performance. Congrats to Cryptic for the victory on the second map tonight, but also a good job to Sinister. We're going to see both of those teams return next week. We do have Super Week, 3 nights of ANZ Pro League, and then we'll know which two teams will head to APAC finals for a spot at Tokoname. Don't want to miss it. Tune in next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be here waiting for you guys, and I'm really looking forward to it. So from everyone here, from myself, Dev, Cthulhu, and all the guys out in production, thank you and have a good night.
ready. Detonator.
Diffuser. Position compromised.
Reloading!
A bomb has been located. Diffuser. Attackers need to protect it.